Hello, I am the Great Wizard Merlan. I apologise, we were running quite a bit late. Lots of technical issues.
Thanks, Logitech.
But it's fine, we're using the Razer webcam, you know, which has saved the day.
He can chill a product because I damned a product.
It evens it out, you know, equilibrium. But yeah, so it's been a few weeks since we last played because you know, various issues, adulting, illness, you know, and other things. But we are back now with some more D&D. You know, which have to try and remember exactly where we were, apart from on a boat.
This is session number 12.
I think I was wearing a nautical themed pashmina Afghan.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Just in case you forgot where we were.
I did. I didn't keep track of the number.
Oh, Katie, can you finger me,
I don't
please?
even know where I am now.
Okay, so we've got
Thank
session 11. It was Norgram the 6th.
Mm.
I'm going to read out exactly what I've written. So I've got Cass is also uncomfortable. Carson rolls an 83 and fucks everyone up. Con saves to adjust to weathers on the sea. Not seeing the captain and Eliza have been around every so often. They seem incredibly busy. We go to the evening meal and they came on looking very stressed. We had a very peaceful meal. We slept and I keep having deep and disturbing dreams.
And you keep fucking waking me up.
Norgram the 7th. We woke up in the morning, donning armour with Cass. Cass is also deeply disturbed. I'll just get in there. Zach and Carson are already on deck. Port is left and starboard is right, because we googled that last time.
It's easy to remember.
Yeah.
Left has 4 letters and so does port. Starboard has 2 R's in it, like the beginning of right.
I got told by a boatman that I work with the best way to remember it is there's no port left.
Yep. That's one I've always used.
Ah,
Yes. Anyway, so then we saw that there was a warning bell going because there was an enemy ship with no colours. We think it's pirates. I drew a little pirate flag. We're going to be caught and boarded because they've got the wind behind them. And then the ship crew did some finagling. I just forgot to write it. It's where they dropped the anchor and then they let go of the wheel and then they club hauled the boat.
Yeah.
I did write it down. We had 15 boarded. They were almost all human, but 2 were dwarfs. Then we pulled up the anchor and started running through the ship. I couldn't do anything at all. I stood on the back of the ship because none of my spells were any good, so I just out the way. And then people were shooting things. Oh no! Eliza shot her rifle, and then it caused ice to like cover the whole back of the enemy ship with some kind of magic.
Yep.
She froze the rudder. Locked it in and turned, so it was just...
Yeah. So what
Why
essentially?
does that
So
sound
to break that down a little bit,
Lucy,
they
why does that
club
sound
hauled the
familiar?
ship so that they could turn at such a breakneck speed that the other ship had to turn full rudder to be able to even try and keep up. When they had the back of the ship exposed, Eliza shot it with magic ice, which encased the rudder in it, preventing it from turning the rudder back, meaning the ship was locked in a turn.
Locked in full turn.
Yeah. And I wrote that as the whole back is icy and now the rudder is stuck.
what's your job again?
Me?
Yeah?
Just writing a book.
I just write notes. Don't mind me. Bosun defends helmswoman. Zach shoots bitches. Free head to captain. He pulls out a cutlass. He got caught by a hit, but cut down the bitches. Cass gets hit, so does Zach. Cass fights bitches. Captain sneaks attacks and stabs bitches and kills bitches. I told you I was writing notes. Oh, I got to hold a rope with mage hand to trip up somebody. Yes. Zach shoots bitches. Carson axes him a question. Trips up bitches. Throws a bitch at another bitch. Cass grows wings and looks scary as fuck. Some people ran below deck to fight people. Gal had already murdered them. We brought up the bodies. Captain asks us to contain Cass as she's making people incredibly
I
uncomfortable.
walked out.
Ah.
Ship.
She
explained.
threw one of the people off board, and then after that we started looting people. Cass made some kind of
Well, then
Cass
you need
stuff.
someone to have sex with the body so they can't go to the afterlife.
We had a comment where we think we may have accidentally threw some of our loot overboard in one of the bodies and we weren't going to go get it.
Yeah.
I still
It
had
belongs to the sea now.
I had to run
Till
to take
sea
magic
swallows
on
all.
to see
Or
if there was
you do.
anything on bodies. Which when I got to have a look at both Captain and Eliza to see what magic items they had, that was interesting. They wandered off. Hands are fighting between group. Helmswoman cast magic. It's something religious. A couple of days have passed. 3 nightmare field nights. bullet crafting. Zach made 90 bullets. It is now Norgram the 9th. There you go. It's session 12. Beautiful notes, if I do say so myself.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we're actually going to end up skipping forward a couple more days. So it actually goes.
Are you still level
across
3?
To no, level 4 now.
Oh shit, level 4.
That's why I made sure to put on the group.
So
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did. But I didn't have a book. Sorry.
Leveling up's easy. So we'll cycle through to Norgram the 18th. For reference, what do people think they'd have generally done with their time on the ship so far? Uneventful, generally average weather.
I'm curious. So
Rain.
I'll be looking around, talking to people, helping out where I can, and just being interested, particularly in how the ship works.
Okay. So you'll be learning a bit about the ship.
I'm generally gonna help out, more with the cooking, trying to learn more things. Maybe try and work on my survival a little bit. Maybe do a little bit of fishing if I can, if there is a way of me doing fishing.
Okay.
I don't have a fishing rod, but you never know.
Yeah. So fishing off the side of the ship is kind of awkward when it's moving at the speed you're trying
should be
to
right.
push at.
It should be fine. Long line fishing.
But I say they also aren't really a fishing ship, so they don't really have the equipment.
Otherwise, I've got a book on survival, which I could be studying that as well.
Is it the Wasteland Survival?
Well, actually, was it hunting? A book on hunting. Sorry, not survival.
Yeah, I don't actually think I leveled up.
Me, Merlan, and Leon sat with it last time at the end of the
Yes,
session.
because I remember I was really looking forward to the extra bonuses to stats, which I was putting.
I'm a fighter. Mine took all of 2 minutes.
What's your hit points?
50.
No, I
I'm
definitely
on
did the
30,
hit points.
I'm on 34.
Is it possible that you took a feat rather than a stat increase?
I did! Thank you.
Oh, was it that brawler one?
I took...
Or was it something else?
Because some of the feats are fucking awesome. Like
Yeah,
sniper
I took
and
a
spell
feat.
sniper, because fuck everything at range.
Can't remember
Um,
which feat it
That's
is.
my jam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember which feat I took, but I took a feat.
Yeah, because mine was the stat increase and slow fall, mainly.
Oh, okay, tough.
Right, extra hit points.
Extra hit points.
And while I was on the ship, I saw a parrot on a fish. It was a perch.
Yeah.
What's Macari been doing for sort of the last few days while ship's been in motion and not a lot's going on?
I've probably been a bit weirder because obviously, I'm just not sleeping well. And things keep haunting my nightmares. So I'm starting to be a little bit more erratic and talking to myself, spending a lot of time writing our adventures.
Oh, also roll me a D percentile. Tell me what you get.
One of the mornings I'm going to be having a chat with you.
Terrifying. 92.
Okay. So 92% of the nights you get sleep.
Yay.
So there ends up being one night where you basically don't get any sleep because dreams are.
Okay, cool. That's fine. So apart from that, I'm writing my book out and ignoring people because no one wants to be my friend apart from you guys. So fuck the rest of them.
Yeah, so one of the mornings I'm literally going to turn to you and go, I am getting fucking fed up with this shit.
What?
I keep waking up and feeling like crap.
That's not good.
Horrible.
Terrible.
I just want one peaceful night.
You're getting decent sleep every night.
I
It's
know,
just
but
waking up and it's just
feeling shit. I'm getting fed up with this shit.
See, we're us guys,
Only
in the
got
bunks,
4 weeks
we're sleeping
left.
great.
you guys are alright.
We can.
Other than that, I'm going to be sitting in my spot, either reading or doing my sewing and stuff.
So
Trying not to freak out the people as they go about their duties.
okay. So one morning, as everyone's sort of grabbing food from down near the pantry, the captain sort of swings past and comes to sort of the little group. Right. So just to let you know, we had a bit of information before we left, which suggests there was a little bit of uncouth activity going on around the waters on the usual route. So we're having to pass a little bit closer to somewhere we prefer not to, but not a lot of choice. So we're going to be doing a lot of preparation today for going past this place. Is called
Skull Island.
I was thinking the Siren Isles.
Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah. There's giant apes there. Really? No, they're not that big. It's just sort of luring tourists.
Manatee Bay.
This place is called Cruzac. It's a small island. If anyone wants to roll me a history or nature check.
Same for me, anyway.
I will
Same.
Oh,
Do a
I rolled,
nature.
I rolled a 19.
I'll go
23.
Oh, I didn't.
What?
I'm doomed.
Number one.
I'm doomed for the rest of the session now.
Yeah.
But that is an almighty 21.
Fucking
Which one?
History. It's
Which
exactly
one
the
did you
same
roll?
for me either way. So.
23.
Which one? History or nature?
History. Can you spell it for me?
I can. Kruzakh.
So
Cruzaka.
Cruzac I or just Cruzac?
It's just called Cruzac.
Seeing as everyone's doing history, I'll do nature.
Okay.
That's 18.
Where's feats?
Okay.
There isn't really.
Oh,
a slot
it's
for
basically instead of
Oh,
the
outlook.
ability score improvement.
Oh, right.
You got
Oh,
later
because
in-
it said skills. I thought it meant them.
Oh, okay.
So, for those of you who rolled history, and the two of you that got pretty
Yeah, I
good
did.
scores, i.e. you two. So you've both read about this island. Cruzac is an island that there's not a lot of information about. However, it is known as the Island of Eternal Storm. Because for as long as history has had records of this as long as the history books have had record of this island, there's been storms surrounding the island, and they are strong storms at that. The closer you go, the stronger the storm. One or two records, very brief, battered records, state that people who have come back from getting close suggest that the island may be populated by less than average beings, less than average creatures, but there's not really much more than that available. It could be due to a lack of exploration based on what you found in history books. Otherwise, you can't really be sure. For the nature side of things, it's known that this area obviously is surrounded by storms. The area around tends to be very barren of a lot of typical sea life. It's been known to have sightings of storm giants and other such creatures, but even they're somewhat far between.
It's very rare for there to be any life.
Yeah. There is mention of storm giants in the area in the history books, but again, there's not a lot of mention about anything else other than sort of those sort of topics.
Okay, so as he said that, he said, I will ask, what uncouth activity could there be for us to go closer to somewhere with such storms?
Slavers, actually. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm not really keen to find 3 or 4 ships worth of slavers. Don't particularly want to subject my crew to that, if I'm going to be honest.
I'm much inclined to agree.
But
It's a fight we probably wouldn't win.
few bumpy waves and a little bit of rain never hurt no one, right?
I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
Well, now you just rung Death's fucking bell.
Oh,
Whenever anyone says that, something will automatically go wrong.
Surely there's also the
I've got to put
tradition
on my
that
red shirt.
Yeah.
red
Get the brown pants as well.
But there's also superstitious things like women shouldn't be aboard a vessel and saying certain things and black cats. And
I mean, a couple of those are actually superstition, but then there's just tempt and fate, which is.
but fate is not a real concept. It's like superstition.
I feel you and I have very different views on this.
We've definitely had that since the day we first met.
But I would like to say fate is definitely a real thing.
Well, there's no scientific proof of it. I sure as fuck believe it.
No, I agree. You know, there's a lot of circumstance involved, but I certainly believe that, you know, fate is a real thing.
How else would the 5 of us just turn up all together on the same day in the same town? Unless we were meant to be there.
Respect your individual beliefs in a concept.
Well, anyway, you know,
Holy shit,
lot of,
actually
you know,
resolved an argument.
Either way, my crew will be going about making sure that the storm sails are up and that the ship's pretty much ready. We could do with your help making sure a few things are tied down, make sure nothing's loose. What we don't normally deal with, which you guys may have to help accommodate for, we don't normally have that many animals on board during a storm. So you may have to find a way of keeping the animals calm, not... Well, I don't really know if you can tie down an animal, if I'm going to be honest.
I don't know how helpful we are going to be at calming animals.
Hoff, maybe you could go speak to Barefoot. Barefoot's very good at keeping the animals calm and yourself.
I'll let them know. Yes, I'll speak to him.
Yeah. I'm probably going to stay away from them, me and Cass. We tend to aggravate them more.
Yeah.
Well, I'll help, you know, certainly as much as I can, even though I'm not
The
very
only
trained
thing
in
that I
it.
could do to help is scare them enough that they stop moving.
Stay with stay with Daffy. She seems to like the smell of you.
Mm.
And she's pretty docile, as long as she's got someone with her.
Right, if you could make sure, I mean, obviously I don't want them damaging the ship because that could cause problems, but of course I also don't want your animals getting hurt, given that, you know.
Would it hurt them if I put them to sleep?
No.
Probably not.
Would it be better? I look at Hoff.
I
Or if
mean,
they were asleep during the storm, would it be better for them?
It probably would, yes.
yeah, as long as, you know, they don't fall asleep landing on a rake or something.
We'll let them do that.
Then that certainly won't be good for them.
Alright, well I'll let you go about taking care of business. And if you need anything, just let us know.
Same to you.
Who should we report to when it comes to trying to help time things down and whatnot?
I mean, if you speak to the bosun, I'm sure if he knows of anything in particular, he can point you in the direction. But it's more just if you see anything that looks like it's kind of moving about a little bit more than it should, make sure it's tied down to something. Or you don't really want a cannon flying about when the ship's rocking.
No, that wouldn't be a great idea.
Those cannons rock the boat.
The rock boat.
Don't rock the boat, baby.
I'm sure you have plenty of things to do. Thank you for coming and talking to us.
Well, so nods. Anything else? Yeah, just let me know. And he walks off.
Yes, as he says, just let me know. It's like, same to you. If you need us, let us know.
Oh wait, these are shot. So, quick. What was our troop meeting? Who here can swim? It's very important that I need to know.
Does that come under athletics?
Yes.
I can
Yes.
swim.
Yeah.
I'm fairly adept at swimming.
Athletics.
I can doggy paddle in a shallow, non-moving lake, but I've never been swum in the sea or things that move.
Daffy can swim, and she probably weighs as much as you. She could help you.
I
Yeah,
can
I can't-
swim, but not great.
Yeah, can't say that I've actually swam in such deep waters, but
No, she's
I've done
important.
fairly well.
I've only
check.
got the pool outside my house.
Okay. Now we have got stock. It's a good question to ask. Not that I expect these things, but you never know.
No, it's a good idea. So perhaps we should find a
The
plan
question
of
is
what
Who is
happens.
the strongest swimmer? I'm trying to say this with numbers without saying numbers.
I am
How
not
to do-
proficiently trained, but like I said, I have done some swimming in a very shallow, still lake.
I've been taught to swim, but I'm not really physically built for it.
I'm no stronger than the average man.
Yes, I'm proficient in it, and I'm fairly strong.
I'm proficient,
So
and
you
I
s-
am fairly strong swimmer myself.
So maybe both of you have ever done swimming in a moving river or a fast place, yeah? Okay. So that means it'd be me and Zach that struggles then.
So if either of them should go overboard, it'll be one of us to jump in and get them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a buddy system.
Yeah, actually.
Totally in character. Well played, guys. Well played.
We did that so well.
Okay, so
Okay,
so
who would like to go down to go with the animals, and who would like to go on top and help with the ropes?
Well, I'll let the animals.
I'm not good with ropes or animals.
I'm a trained animal handler.
I'm not trained, but I think I'm. I've got a knack for it. Maybe.
You two be very good with the animals. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna go on the top and try and help. I don't know how much help I will be.
Well, as the captain said, if you find anything that looks like it can move, try and find a way of making it not move.
hold it
I guess.
in place while you tie the knots.
Is that all? I don't know. This crew is quite rude to me. I might just go and hang out with our animals. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
That's completely up to you. I mean, obviously, Captain requested our help, but when the voyage began, we didn't necessarily need to help with shiply duties. So,
Zach, are we gonna head up top then? Cool. Let's go.
Okay. Well, we're not there by the storm yet.
I'll hold the ship. You tie it.
Got it.
The only knots I can tie are the one for my sewing. It's not great. It's not great.
Okay. Do you think I should train in crossbow expert or in sharpshooter?
Does the sharpshooter one where you can shoot over longer distances
I
without penalty?
can, or I can take a penalty and do extra damage.
And is that the crossbow expert one?
No, crossbow expert means I ignore the loading penalty of having a crossbow, and I can shoot something within 5 yards without penalty.
Oh.
Both are equally useful.
I'd say
Yeah.
sharpshooter because when bitches run, they need to die.
And I was at the back anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sharpshooter first, crossbow expert.
Oh look, a little bitch.
So me and Jack are going up. The other three are going to the animals.
Okay, so you start heading up towards top of the deck, and as you sort of start heading up onto deck, you can see sort of a little bit in the distance. There's some dark clouds and such. It's a bit choppier than it has been, and the first mate sort of sees you. Says, "What are you guys doing up on deck? I thought the captain asked you to help below."
We're helping tie things down, making sure shit doesn't go anywhere. We don't know where to go.
Oh, okay. Everything up on deck. We're dealing with the sails and things. We'll deal with the main running of the ship itself. It's more if there's anything below deck. If you see anything that's tied down, not tied down. Everything up here is pretty much accounted for. I think most of the cannons should be secure. If there's any odd things that aren't tied down,
What we'll do is we'll work our way floor by floor during sweep.
we'd appreciate that. Thank you. She sort of goes back to helping with the sails that she appears to have been doing.
Alzi then.
Next one down.
Okay, so we'll come back to you guys in a minute.
Alan
So you guys head down to the very bottom of the deck, bottom of the boat, where the horses are.
It is
Yes.
barefoot there already. If they were grabbing them on the way.
Yeah, so barefoot is down there. The caravan have actually been spending a lot of their time down with the animals, looking after them, tending to them, making sure they're okay. So you sort of get down there, and they're just sort of brushing down the horses, cleaning up after them and such. The most, other than food, that you've generally seen them is when they've been up on deck to shovel shit over the side. Whereas they've spent a lot of time sort of in the rooms and below deck otherwise.
Okay. Oh, you're going to be there. Okay.
Yeah, so you come down and they're sort of just
Hello,
brushing on
barefoot.
horses. Oi! Oh, apologies. Bit busy with the horses here. Not feeling great, to be honest. I don't think boats agree with me too much.
There's a storm coming.
Oi, fantastic. Oh.
Yeah, we've just been told the news.
We've been told that we were to try and help keep the animals calm during this.
Oi, I can't say I know much about storms on a boat. Not been too far myself.
I got told the water is going to get very choppy and there will be some rain.
Oh, I suppose a storm stands to reason. Have you guys got any ideas for helping keep them calm during that?
Yes, well, apart from obviously doing our best, to try and keep them calm, get as many of us near them as possible, I'm guessing. Did you have an idea, Macaria?
No. I'm actually going to be eating.
It's not that long after breakfast, to be fair. So.
I'm going to be eating though, talking. Well, surely some people that horses have trained with sense on, which is some caravan drivers know which horses are there for them. The only other thing I can do is put them to sleep, but it will only last for a certain length of time. But that's only if they get extremely agitated.
Oh yeah, I mean that sounds like a good idea to me.
How many horses are there?
6, I believe. Is how many? Oh no, wait. There's all your horses as well. 12. Oh
Yeah.
So we'd be running between. It's like stay calm, horse. Stay calm, horse.
Well, it's probably good to make sure they are tied up on a short line so they can't thrash around and hurt each other.
Oh, wait, that sounds like a good idea. I'm sure we can
try and put some sort of barrier between them if we can.
Fine.
We don't want the horses kicking each other.
And here we have horse expert.
Which is why I'm going to tell Bert something because
Oh yeah, you would be
know
trained.
it, being
yes.
on a caravan.
You're right, yes.
One of the things that when transporting horses is there is a partition between them because they
Yes,
will
kick
kick
each
and
other.
end up hurting each other.
Yep.
And the way they're actually held in place is they've got the bit and all of the head harness, and it's tied from both cheeks to the sides
Oh, okay.
to stop them from shaking their head and doing damage. But the problem with that on a ship
The ship's
is
been moving anyway.
with the ship moving, their body's going to be moving, but not their head. So that would therefore cause damage. So you need something to hold them at the bottom and the top.
Tie them a different way.
Yeah. You need to hold them at the bottom and the top to keep them stationary, even when the boat's in movement.
Well, they being four-legged, they probably won't have as much problem staying.
Depends how much the sway is.
Yeah.
If it's going like that, they're gonna end up sliding.
Yeah.
So you need something to hold them in place so that they go with it, basically.
Yeah.
But in a way that it's not going to harm.
Can I do an animal handling check?
You can.
Okay, so that's 13.
Okay, so what are you trying to do at the moment?
It's figure out a way using what we've got to get them all to sort of tie them up more securely, and I don't know if you've got the means to partition them properly, but to do what we can.
They are sort of rudimentarily partitioned. It's not like a stable partition.
No.
It's sort of makeshift that it will function while they're on the ship generally, but it wouldn't
Probably
hold
enough
up.
to withstand a kick or two.
Yeah.
Not to withstand a bowl.
With the purpose of the horses here, and sort of speaking to the caravan crew and Barefoot, the general disposition of the horses is quite good, and they're generally fairly calm anyway. However, they don't have a clue what they're going to be like in a suddenly very awkward situation. I'll say, they do mention that the first couple of days they were a bit jittery from being on a boat for the first time, so they don't know how they're going to react to something worse like a storm. So there does appear to be a couple of ways you can potentially tie them down, but if the horses strain too much, you think it could still break them and they could end up hurting themselves.
We'll need someone here all the time with them.
The sleep idea does sound, especially from all the ideas so far, the sleep idea sounds like the best one, and then you can potentially sort of lightly tie them down just to prevent them moving as much in their sleep. But again, you have to keep them asleep long enough for that to work.
How many hit points would you say are horses? Because the spell works basically that I have a total pool of hit points, and it will go from the first point and say I have a certain hit points of say 40, and the first thing is 5, and then 5 hit points, and then I have a pool of 35, and it goes along like a trickle effect.
Yeah.
So it depends on the hit points of the animals as to how many times I'd have to cast it.
How long does it last?
So I can make it last for a minute, but then I can double the duration to 2, and then I can double the duration to 4 minutes. But that's there's only so much I can do. I am a 4th level caster.
Oh yeah. But still, it's better than nothing.
Especially at the points where they're struggling the most.
Also give Brooke a idea of how to tie them.
So the horses each have 10 hit points.
Yeah, so a way you could do it is you could saddle the horses and tie ropes to the saddles through loops. That way you've got enough rope so that if you do need to put them to sleep if they're getting extremely agitated, that you can loosen it so they can lie flat, but then tie it again so that it's still strong enough to hold them in place while sleeping.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got all their tack that we use to put them on the wagons anyway, so we can use that to help us.
There's 6 in our horses, so we've got a total of 12.
Yeah.
12 horses, 10 hit points each.
So 120 hit points.
Yes, so you have it on the bit as it normally would be, and then you have the saddle, and then you attach the rope to the saddle as well. Have it through loops, so that if, like I said, if they're standing, you can have it tied to a certain tension, and then if you need to put them to sleep, you can loosen it so that it can lie down, and then tie it again to keep it at a good tension. Stop
17.
them fucking about.
Okay, so while they're talking about all these options and the possibilities, you are aware that there's a few things in the pantry that help with sort of better sleep. For a few herbs, a few spices, a few other things, and you think you could probably try and whip something up that will make them drowsier, which might help calm them.
It's not a bad idea. So yeah, it's like, just thinking about it. Hoff, you're definitely better with herbs and such than I am, but I'm pretty certain that in the pantry, being as I've been in there are some herbs in there that could potentially be whipped up to make them drowsy.
Yeah, well, let's take a look. To look at these herbs and prepare something, would that be survival or nature?
If you're going to prepare something food-based, it would be survival. However, if you wanted to prepare something more alchemically based...
I can help with that. I have an alchemist kit. I can do it.
Okay.
Alchemy.
And I will use my nature to pick the herb, be able to pick the herbs by sight.
Okay.
Know a bit about them.
Yeah, so
you have to come and get me because I'm patrolling currently.
But yeah, if I I'll take Hoff to the pantry with me, so basically can help make sure that I've got the right ones.
Your assistance, please. We've found some potentially useful herbs in the pantry.
Okay.
We require expertise in preparing them into.
I'll go get my kit. Back in a second. Oh, they scurry off.
Can I take a nature check for the
I
herbs?
don't carry it with me.
Okay, that is a 15.
Okay, so you can immediately pick out several herbs and spices that help sort of better sleep, just slightly help to relax. The bosun is currently in there, and he sort of doesn't seem to have much issue with what you're doing, sort of when he realises. And he pulls out a small pouch that has some slightly stronger ones that are very, very good for more, I suppose, remedial sleep. And he sort of he offers you the pouch as well. Doesn't actually say much.
Yeah, it's like, thank you both. We'll try not to use all of it.
So it carries on making sure that the cupboards are all latched down and such.
Yeah, sure.
We'll try not to use all of it. We need more.
So, with the first sort of deck that you guys have been past, there's a few cannons and things. You haven't found anything really that wasn't tied down. Everything here seemed fairly well secured, based on the fact that cannons moving about is not ideal on a ship. There was the odd sort of cannonball that wasn't properly in its sort of bay, which you've moved, which is just sort of dislodged or whatever, and then re-secured them all. But that's about the sort of point where they came past and nabbed her. You go down to the next deck, and there's a lot of the rooms on this one.
Right.
Are you going to be going into a lot of the personal cabins and rooms and things, or are you going to be staying out of those mostly?
I'm on Facebook. I respect people's privacy.
Okay. So around some of the other areas, again, you find sort of the odd thing that doesn't look like it's actually a particular issue. There happens to be an open porthole, which you close. But other than that, again, on this deck there isn't a lot. On the next deck down, there's a few sort of cargo crates and things that don't look like they're tied down. Okay. They've been sort of neatly stacked to the sides, to one of the sides. This particular one is the port side, but again, they're not tied down.
I will grab some rope and start tying them down.
Okay. So there is rope all over the place. Funnily enough, there's a couple of essentially iron wall hooks.
Yeah, kind of anchor points.
Yeah, and it looks like that's probably what they're for. If you could roll me a survival check, please.
Fuck.
That's why I said I'd be shit at it, because my survival is terrible. That's what I was like, oh, hold it, you tie it.
Survival.
Because I get that to my roll.
Well, I'd do one better.
Definitely not the best team for tying knots.
Non-natural 20.
Yeah, so you tie it fairly securely. You manage to get one of the other crates tied in at the same time, and they're both pretty much not budging unless it's untied first, from what you can gather.
That'll do.
To say the ship's cat ends up just wandering past as you're tying things up and brushes up against your leg.
Reach down and give it gentle pettings.
Gentle pettings.
She seems happy, and she sort of slinks off and goes
Moderate
down
pettings.
the side of the rooms.
The cat approves. Better line.
Yeah, that's why, when we first got on the ship, Cat came over, I was like, this could be awkward. Oh no, we're good. It likes me.
So when they went off to get some of the herbs and things, Lucy, what were you doing?
Doing math to figure out if I have enough spells to put everyone to sleep.
Okay.
Which is yes, if I had to.
Oh.
All the horses, I could put to sleep. But it means that you won't get a condescending mage armor.
Take the
Condescending.
horses are more important.
And how long would you be able to put them to sleep for?
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
So 1 minute sleep lasts for a minute. I could do all 12 horses and burn through, but it'd be a minute. Then I'd have to use two sorcery points to get it from 1 minute duration to 2 to 2 to 4.
Can't you just make them a bit drowsy? No, it doesn't work.
Well, maybe with a combination it might extend the duration, but that's about all I can do at the moment.
What skills are you training
Actually proficient in.
in? Yeah, proficient.
Arcana, Deception, History, and Insight. It's a really weird combination, I know.
Okay.
Deception.
Okay, so you're sort of there feverishly writing in a book as they wander off, and then they come back with Cassandra. So you've got all the bits and pieces that you think would possibly help. So if you're looking at food-based options, if you can roll me a survival to see what you can make, and then if you can roll your alchemy based on intelligence to see what you reckon you can make, based on obviously the ingredients, and you're obviously all talking about what you've got there.
Yeah.
Right, in that case, let's give it a go. Yeah, survival wise as well. Oh,
God,
that could have been a lot better.
it's because you rolled your 20 already.
Yeah. 10.
Mediocre.
19.
Okay. So with the ingredients and various herbs and spices at your disposal,
Secret blend of herbs and
you
spices.
think you've got functionally 2 things that you could do alchemically.
Mhm.
You could do a sleeping draft
Yep.
that you reckon would probably work for 24 hours.
Yep.
Provided it's taken obviously willingly.
Mhm.
You don't think it would work on someone as like a
Yeah.
poison alchemy type thing. However, with the ones that with all the ingredients and the quantities you have,
Mhm.
you only think you could make 4 of those.
Right.
Alternatively, if you were to spread the ingredients, you think you could make a draft that would make them drowsy and more susceptible to sleep, and you reckon you can make that for 10.
Okay.
You don't think you could stretch it to 12.
Mm.
Food-wise, you're not sure, but you reckon you've got something that would help calm them down. But you're not
Again, more. Yeah. So
You're not really sure how strong the effect would be.
Okay.
I can either do 4 potions which would put them to sleep for 24 hours, or I could do 10 potions and it would make them drowsy and
Susceptible.
that's the one.
I think
To
that would be, I think that would be a good idea, and then we can use the magics on any problem ones.
Yeah, so just by looking at it, I'm not sure what I'd be able to put together for them to just eat. It would probably help calm them down, but I don't know how strong it would be.
Yeah, so which would you prefer? 4 that knocks them out for 24 hours, or 10 that makes them drowsy?
10 make them drowsy, and you can and leave magic for emergencies.
That makes sense.
If one of you could roll for the 2 of you, you can pick who rolls, and you use the highest of the 2 of you for survival and alchemy, and standard alchemy, not intelligence based. But one of you rolls, pick between 2 of you, and you roll at advantage for this roll.
What would be standard alchemy? Because I haven't actually written it down for the alchemist side.
Is it not? I don't know.
I don't have the book, so I can't check.
Book.
Yeah, because obviously,
Book.
yeah, because obviously for me, like with the cook's tools, it was based off survival, so it must say something like that in there regarding to alchemy. I mean, I'd assume it's based on intelligence,
Have a look.
whatever it is.
Potentially. I'm not sure off the top of my head, if I'll be honest.
I mean, my best guess would be medicine, but then again,
Yeah.
that's wisdom.
Might be Arcana because technically it's a magical thing.
Yeah, I actually think medicine's quite a
Science.
close one. So if we go that it's based off wisdom normally,
Science, bitch.
without any other sort of obvious.
All of the snacks are coming out now.
Someone crinkling with it. So yeah, so we'll go with it being based off wisdom, same as medicine for now. I couldn't find anything in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't give us.
So basically it says skills for which alchemy tool is proficiency grants advantage in certain situations and suggests extra benefits the character is proficient in both the tool and relevant skill. For example, if you're trying to brew a tool or potion that's used for purifying water or healing another person, it's based off a medicine check.
Oh.
If you were trying to tinker and make a bomb, for example, it would be under... I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
That's fine.
it's
But
all
yeah.
up to you.
Yeah, so this particular one is closer to medicine, so it'll go based on wisdom, but it'll be obviously tool
Oh.
proficiency rather than
So,
that one's
Tinker's
the
Tools helps you determine the age and origins of an object with a history check, or trying to find out how an object was damaged through an investigation. Yeah, so basically down to you depending on what the skill is.
So that's fine. So for you it would be wisdom, a wisdom based.
Wisdom, and I add my
Proficiency.
proficiency.
Which again was wisdom for survival
So it
anyway.
depends on which of you think would be best off rolling, but you do roll at advantage. Feel free to discuss numbers.
That's what your onion ring stays about.
Well,
Right.
my wisdom is 4.
So yeah, so your wisdom is higher.
Plus 4 wisdom.
Well, I've got proficiency to my wisdom.
Oh, okay. In that case, -5 because of proficiency to that. But
But
yeah,
you
it's
roll
down
like
to
shit.
who. Yeah, but it's down to who's rolling. So I'm gonna go with you.
Okay, so roll me advantage because this is functionally you two using combined knowledge and.
Yes. Oh wait, I've jinxed it. Unjinx.
18.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. You reckon if you were to do and use a couple of your alchemy supplies and you help him cook some into it, you reckon you could stretch it to all of the horses with a slightly lesser effect. It would make them a little bit drowsier,
Are you strong enough to choke
more
out a horse?
susceptible generally.
I don't know how strong do you need to be.
It wouldn't be perfect.
Very.
You reckon there'd be like 14 doses at that point.
Okay.
Mm.
With your help,
Mm-hmm.
I can probably stretch it to 14 doses.
Yeah, Jake, is he strong enough? Can he use his monk skills to put a horse in a sleep hold?
Choke bench.
Yeah, choke.
16
You
strength.
could
So
physically do it.
I've got 18
Roundhouse.
strength. I could probably do it better than you.
Roadhouse.
yeah.
Either way,
Yeah. So with my with my help.
with your help, we can probably cook it into something, and I'd be able to make 14 doses rather than 10.
Just
But it'd
roadhouse
be
them all
not
to
as
sleep.
strong.
But still, if it's got a chance of stretching it out to all the horses, then that's definitely better.
I suggest we make a simple syrup and add it to sugar cubes. Sugar cubes go down easier to a horse than anything else we try and make it into.
True.
That
No.
seems
Plus,
fair.
the sugar will be able to soak up the liquid.
Have you been listening to it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
I'm firstly adding to my scribblings.
Yes.
Between the two of you, go based on survival and arcana.
Oh no.
Discuss between the two of you which you think should roll, and whoever wants to roll gets advantage at this.
Okay.
I'm proficient in Arcana. My Arcana's cool.
Yeah,
No, I'm proficient in survival. Mine's 5, but again, it's down to who's the better roller.
Yeah, only thing I've really got to bring to the table is nature and animal handling.
Fuck your phone. I'm throwing
My
everything up.
phone, go on the floor.
What would you like to do? Which one of us can roll?
Hmm.
Am I rolling? I just don't trust you.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't trust me.
Nice.
20, non-natural.
Okay. So based on what they've been discussing and you sort of piping in with your sleep spells, you reckon, provided the horses reach a certain level of drowsiness, you reckon if you cast the sleep spell, based on their susceptibility already, you reckon you could put them out for a couple of hours at least. You couldn't give a definitive number of hours, but it's in the hours regions.
Okay. So basically, like I've got like a piece of paper, parchment, and a quill, and it just makes no sense. I've just written like numbers all over it. And I go, okay, if you were to do that and you were to do it, and then I was to use magic on them, I probably can knock them out quite safely for a good couple of hours. But I couldn't give you a determinate minute time because there's something wrong with my algorithm. I keep getting off by a third of the point.
Fair enough.
So
And the
still,
sleep spell would affect them as though they had 5 hit points, not 10 as well.
Ah, that does change my math.
is that what
So
either,
there you go. Oh wait, I forgot about this, and then start scribbling again.
I've got a decimal point.
either way, that's still a better result than what we
This
had.
is so are you a mathematician?
Hey.
Hey.
See, look, when you get that number, you really get this number in your pocket.
Watch as I make the remainder disappear.
If we're gonna cook it into things, we should probably go and
Do it
find
now.
somewhere with a place we can cook shit.
Yes, well, there is one place.
So we're probably gonna have to cook the herbs into the water to get the nutrients from the herbs into the water. Cool the water down to the point that it wouldn't dissolve the sugar entirely, but just the sugar absorbs the nutrients from the herbs. Yeah, so if I completely boil the water, add everything in, grind it down. Do you have a mortar and pestle? Because I've lost mine.
Yeah,
Can I borrow it?
Not
Yeah, but
something I usually
but I
carry,
need it back
but
so I can grind up the crickets.
I'll hand it back later.
actually, would that sort of thing be in a artisan's cook's tools? Would that be more a cooking implement as well as a
I have it
Mortar
technically.
mortar and pestle?
Mine
It
is
can
in
be
my
used-
Arcana kit.
It
Mine's
can be used for a
specifically
great
set
many things.
Yeah.
Mortar and pestle is a very versatile piece of equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what the thought just crossed my
Use
mind.
it for crushing up your meth, so it's easy to smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what I
as
mean
I'm-
when I'm a cook. No.
So as I'm walking, I've got, because I've grabbed a bag of herbs off you, so I've got mortar and pestle
Yeah,
here,
the troll type.
herbs here, and I'm grabbing some of mine, adding it in, grinding it up, adding some of that, grinding it in.
But because I'm more used to it, I'll get my special knives and I'll basically dice up the herbs.
So,
You know when you
Yeah, dice up the herbs. Any other herbs that doesn't mean...
No dicing.
No.
No. Doing this, you crush them and it releases the juices. Doing that, you're not releasing
Essential
the
oils.
juices. Yeah, you're not releasing them, you're just cutting it. That's redundant, you're just wasting your time. Give them here.
Alright.
You've seen Dexter, right?
No.
Okay. All I can think of is like my special knives, and I feel like you just pull out like unfurled his murder tools.
oh,
yeah.
the first mummy film
Probably
with,
knife
with,
roll.
with his gun.
Oh yeah, he's got a knife roll full of guns.
Yeah.
But then again, I'd imagine that I do have like this leather, this leather thing I can unroll, and I've got various different shapes and sizes of knives.
Whatever happened to Brendan Fraser?
You keep an eye on the
Can't put it out of
water.
the
If
limelight.
you've seen Brendan Fraser, call the number below now.
He's missing.
No, he's not. He's in Doom Squad.
You keep an eye on the water. The second it gets to boiling
Okay.
point, we need to turn it off.
That's Doom Squad.
Alright then.
It's pretty much what's happening. I'm
Apparently
still like,
better than
So Zach, you find a couple of half-empty rum barrels that look like they've been probably used the previous night for getting wankered. Roll me a survival check to tie them down.
Actually, first, since they're both half empty, can I just fill one of them up?
You certainly can. That won't require a check. It's not particularly
This
difficult.
back also makes for weight, but more buttons.
Reasonable.
Nope. 6.
Okay. As far as you're aware, this one's fairly similarly tied to the other one. You reckon it's fairly secure? You don't reckon it's coming undone?
You get pissed off the fumes. Yay, it's done.
Okay, I'll carry on searching. Fine one.
Other than those couple of things, you do actually note that everything's relatively well looked after and tied down. Everything that they sort of normally look after is generally sorted. It's just the odd thing that might have been briefly overlooked that you've just managed to find, and you reckon you probably found it all at this point. So, for you guys, roll me an alchemy to prepare all of the ingredients and ready them in an alchemical way to be cooked into the food.
based on my wisdom again.
Yes, please.
Would she get it an advantage because I'm technically helping her or not?
I will say yes.
I'm helping.
Yes, he's watching the water to make sure it doesn't boil over.
Or holding your hair out of the way.
Yeah, because that's just as important as preparing the ingredients.
Yeah. Both extremes. I got a 1 and a 20.
Wow.
See, the one, that's my contribution.
That's fairly impressive.
24. Natural
Okay.
20.
So you prepare them as well as can physically be prepared. Everything is ready, the right proportions, ready to be cooked in as he's sort of letting you know what he needs to do with cooking it into. It's essentially, it needs to be part of the full meal really at this point.
Right.
So a syrup would work mixed in with everything else.
Yeah.
But he needs to be able to cook it so that it doesn't lessen the effect.
Mm.
So he's letting you know what he'd require as you're doing it, and you manage to pretty much set everything out perfectly.
I've lined it up, so it's like, I need this here. I need this here. Just handing it the second you need it.
So you can now roll survival.
Advantage.
Yeah, with advantage, and because of how well she succeeded, you'll get +5.
+5. Oh, fucking hell, so +10 to this. Oh, so that's 26.
Hooray,
Okay.
he didn't
Nice.
blow it.
So you cook everything really well. You cook 12 portions essentially, because there's 12 horses.
Mm.
You cook a 13th portion baker's dozen, just in case something goes wrong.
You never know.
And the 14th you prepare for something more human based, or humanoid based,
Mm.
based on the idea that you reckon Barefoot looked a bit green.
Ah.
We're drugging him. It's fine.
So you've got a 14th one that is for a humanoid, just in case.
So rather than the hay and barley that we've been giving to the horses, it's steak.
Can't be steak to horses.
No, for
No,
barefoot.
that'll be
That one's
because
for
he's got
barefoot.
one dose for a humanoid.
Yeah, so it's something more,
Oh,
it'll
it'll have to be a full humanoid dose because halflings can drink a lot.
yeah. But still, if you'd be looking, it's like, what's that? That's not for a
It's the
horse.
same level as for a horse. So we're basically giving barefoot a horse tranquilizer.
Keffi is on respiratory failure.
Oh no, it's fine.
Yeah, so you wouldn't.
Just one fucking
I was gonna
ketamine.
I was going to say, you're not trying to drug me, are you? No. What is it then? Ketamine. Oh, I'm that then.
Yeah,
Don't mind if I do.
He's like, all right, party time.
Yeah, but trust me, this is really tasty. Yeah, it's like, well, I don't feel hungry. Eat.
Honestly,
Honestly.
I was thinking like Mr. T, like
what is this?
I ain't getting no boat.
fucking hell.
I ain't getting no boat. Wait a minute, I don't want a sandwich. I want a Murdoch sandwich.
Yeah, it's like, Bethel, this is some of my best cooking. Honestly.
Well, yeah.
Oh, is it? Let me taste it.
Yeah, this is. One of this will put you into a proper food coma.
Well,
We're gonna finish it.
Okay.
The food coma special, that's what it will be.
So,
Thank you.
once you're done, you make your way down to the others to let them know you've done pretty much what you reckon you can. And those two are just coming back with some what looks like animal feed and something for humanoids.
Fine.
What you reckon you've done a steak, yeah? So they come back with 13 what look like horse feeds and a steak.
who's the steak for?
Barefoot.
Oh, that's true.
Just in case it doesn't look.
We're
Right,
knocking
at
the
the moment.
horses out. And barefoot.
Can I please have my personal water?
Fair enough.
I'll
I'm
certainly
holding
not.
the stack of, feed here.
I'll certainly not refuse sedation. I'm not feeling too well.
It should put you to sleep for a couple of hours. Hopefully.
24 hours to go. I wanna be sedated.
Let's not give it to them just yet.
No.
I'm going to run up, see how we're looking up there, see how close we are to the place, and then.
I was going to suggest the same thing, actually.
Yeah, I know, just because if we get much closer and I have to concentrate to cast as well, I don't want to be in the middle of the storm. But good idea.
It's just we don't want to do it now and then it run out before we've gotten past.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to drop the feed.
Yeah, well, so the horses
No.
don't go for it immediately because you keep it sort of to the side, away from where they're all tied up and such. And they know enough that they're trained enough that they're not just going to go after you with the food. So that's fun.
Just now, quick, get into action. Sleep. Sleep.
I'm going to run to the captain's quarters. Knock on the door.
Okay. There's no answer on the door.
So I'm going to run up to the top deck.
Okay. So you see
I know
the
he found
captain.
the steak.
You see the captain's sort of stood next to the helmswoman at the wheel.
Cool. So I'm not even going to, properly go out on deck. I'm just going to get to the point that I can see him. Hey, Captain, how long do you think we're going to until the worst of it?
I'd probably say we've got about 2 hours till we hit the proper edge of the storm. Sort of as I look up, sort of tests the air a little bit. 3 hours, I'd say, till we hit where it's going to start getting pretty rough.
Got it. Thank you. As I run back down. So as I get down, we should probably give it to them in about an hour and a half. In 2 hours, we're going to start getting choppier, and in 3 hours, it's going to be the worst. So if we give it to them in about an hour and a half, and then that will give you half an hour. Don't know how long you need to do your spells, but it will give you half an hour before it gets properly choppy.
Well, it won't necessarily knock the horses out straight away. They have some
just
time
make
to
them
eat it, so.
Right, well,
About an hour and a half.
I'm going to go to our cabin to start making sure everything's tied down or and stowed.
Okay.
Check on the dag.
Okay. So, dog generally seems to be okay. She's again. So she's not really used to boats either. So
I'll take her on deck and I'll calm her down maybe.
Okay, so you take her up on deck, and the crew are sort of just putting the last few bits away, tying the last couple of ropes down. It looks like most of it's done, and the storm sails are up, which are smaller than the regular sails. For first mate comes over and says, "Probably good you getting the dog some exercise now.
That's what I thought.
Best not to be on deck during a storm.
I know. I've heard.
Captain generally is the only one on deck during storms. He doesn't like the crew do like taking over and putting themselves at risk when he won't. So he'll probably be the only one up here."
Understood.
What a guy.
What a guy. What a guy.
I'm just going to smoke you a kipper. I'll be back for breakfast.
Clip me a slipper.
Smoke me a clipper, I'll be back for Christmas.
Have you guys got something to keep the horses calm?
We're working on that, yes.
We're drugging them.
Good. No, I'm glad to hear. It's best that they don't hurt themselves. It's not like they asked to be on a ship. If there's anything else we can do, or if there's anything we can provide that might help, let us know. I've got a few more things to do. I apologise. I'll take my leave, and she sort of runs off and heads down below deck.
I'll finish getting the dog some exercise. Maybe jump up her and sort of ride up and down the deck a bit, and then lead around and let her sniff everything, and then get her below deck, get her nice and tired, and then down below deck.
Okay. Is she going to stay in the room, or are you going to take her below where the horses are?
And she's familiar with the room, so I'll keep her there in her bed that I've got for her.
Okay, no worries. So when you're in the room looking at making sure everything's sort of tied down, the beds aren't actually tied down because it looks like the rooms were specifically furnished for probably you guys actually. Cause I don't...
To the carpenter's store. Ship's carpenter. Right, I'm gonna get hammer and nails. If the carpenter's there, all the better. If he's not, I'll just borrow some stuff.
Okay. When you ask around, it sounds like the bosun is probably the one who deals with that normally.
Really? A ship would normally have its own dedicated carpenter.
That's probably the half-orc who's probably still in a
Oh yeah,
drunken state.
the shipwright.
There's the shipwright who could probably help as well, but he doesn't seem to deal so much with tying stuff down as fixing the ship.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking he can help me nail the beds down without breaking things.
Okay. Initially, you can't find him. Who do you ask about the shipwright?
Yeah. I'll stop a crewman that I passed and say, have you seen the shipwright around, or anyone else that can do some carpentry?
I mean, from what I hear, he's been off the side of the ship for the past couple of hours.
Oh dear.
Might want to ask Captain actually.
She's busy at the moment. He's busy at the moment. I don't want to bother her. Him. Second in command, yeah.
I mean, if you need the shipwright for something, it might be worth checking with him, I guess. I'm sure he won't mind.
Go look for him. Thank you. I'll head up deck.
Okay, so he's up on deck, still at the helm with the helmsman. He's been there quite a while now.
Excuse me, sir. Can I have a moment of your time?
How can I help?
I noticed the beds we have in our cabin. I'm worried about them moving around if we have some rough weather. Is it possible that you could nail them in place for the
I didn't think
temporary?
of that. Not a problem we normally have. I mean, the bosun's not bad with a little bit of woodwork. Yargold might have an idea, but he's finishing up some work right now. Hang on a moment. He wanders over to the starboard side of the ship, and there's a rope that's tied there. That now that you're looking where he is, the rope isn't tied to the sails or up onto anything else. The rope seems to be hanging off the edge of the ship.
Oh dear.
And he leans over and says, "Yargog." You just hear sort of a muffled. "Rah!"
It's okay. I mean, if you can give me the, I'm no stranger to tools. I could do it myself, but just didn't want to take things without asking.
Oh well, I mean, if you reckon you can nail it down without causing any structural damage, that's no problem. We can fix it afterwards.
I could use my tinkering and over-engineer it.
But if you
Spring
reckon,
loaded bed.
No, wait, nails with suspension built in.
if you reckon you can nail it down without any help, then
Giant gyroscopic.
That's what I was. That's more like what I was thinking.
But yeah, try and build using a counterweight, I can make a gyroscope so the bed will stay level as the ship moves.
I certainly have no issue with you making the bed safe, so to speak.
Okay,
So,
okay, I'll go to the stores, get the things.
Bosun can point you in the right direction of where we store it all.
Thank you.
If Yargog's not done in too much longer, then I'll send him your way if you'd like.
Right, I'm just going to go to the store, get me a claw hammer, some nails, some bits of wood, just like blocks or something, and then proceed to basically just make some triangular bits, put them against the legs of the bed and the floor. Nail. It'll stop them sloshing around.
Okay, if you could roll me a strength check, please.
Strength? Oh dear.
Hammer into the wood.
Yay! 17.
That's not
Yep.
number
So
one.
you successfully nail away. And
Nail away.
Nail away.
So yeah, you successfully nail away and get the beds in your room all nailed down, and you don't reckon they're moving unless maybe the whole ship gets turned upside down.
Not my problem. Bigger things if that
Hey.
happens.
You hit the nail on the head then.
Hey.
Can I have that back, please? Thank you.
By please, I mean now.
Reloading.
I was coaching
Yeah, so that's the beds in your room.
Okay, horses sorted. Dog fixed. Beds. No, she's not.
Shoulders.
Fixed.
Beds, nailed it.
Beds in your room.
Okay, I'll go check the others.
Okay.
Should we be on hammocks?
Oh no, did you ever tidy up your note array?
Right,
So
I'm
you
going to go with my little bucket of nails and hammer.
You go across to the ladies' room
Oh,
and
good.
it's locked.
Where are they? Knock knock.
Oh yeah, we're downstairs.
No answer.
Right, okay, I'm going to try and find. Well, it's not going to be hard to find. It's a small ship and they stand out. So
Yoo-hoo!
It's actually a reasonably sizable ship.
I'll ask if anyone's seen them. Because, like I said, they're quite
So
distinctive.
most of the crew sort of mentioned that the last place that they've heard they were was downstairs.
Okay, I will head down.
Horses.
Yeah, we
That's-
haven't moved.
The last they saw was Cassandra running up and then back down.
Hello.
We're in the room with the horses.
Yeah, so with the horses.
Oh yeah, because I've been there as well.
Yeah.
Hoff, is that you?
Miss Fell? Cassandra?
Yeah?
Yes.
I found you. I've thought that, I've been rearranging our cabin, making everything safe for if there's a storm. And it occurred to me that the beds are not sort of free on the floor. They will slide around if it is rough. I have done ours. I was going to do yours. I took the liberty to go to yours, but found your cabin was locked.
Yes. I'll run up with him, it's fine. Wait, have you left your shit about?
You're doing something. Here, here's the key.
Thank you. Thank you kindly.
Sorry, my stuff is everywhere.
Do you want me to shove it somewhere? Like, do you
Yeah. Collect it all and put it in the trunk in our room, please.
Okay, is that locked?
No.
Yeah, I'm done.
Just nail
doing what
each
I'm
piece of
not
paper down
done.
individually.
Nailing paper to the floor.
I mean,
Let's see, it's not moved.
Okay, so you head back up, you unlock the door,
Yeah.
and go and you find.
Paperwork.
What does he find everywhere?
Okay, so all of the things that some of the things I'm dreaming about, the stuff that I think about, and all the stuff I write about, I like sit in the centre of the room, and then all my paper goes out in circles around me,
Oh my.
and it's kind of creepy looking.
So that, yeah, there's circles
There's a
and
rug.
circles of paperwork.
It'd be
with
easy to just
gaps
put a
in
rug
it.
over it.
Nail that down.
Nail the rug down. Yeah. Well, she said put in the thing, so I'll start at one side and bundle it up so it's in a stack so you can roughly get it back again. It's not going to be perfect, and then I'll just put it in the trunk like I was told, and then get to nailing the furniture down.
Okay, roll me another stowaway check.
Ugh, not so good. 3.
As far as you can tell, these are nailed down pretty well, and you reckon they're not going to move?
Yeah.
Ting!
Much like the other ones, you you're pretty certain that they're pretty good.
I'm not coming to. I've done the best job I can.
Yep. So you leave, head back down. Do you lock the door after you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm the only person who can keep my hat on down here and not knock it off.
Okay. So you head back down. The sort of hour and a half passes while you're waiting to the point where you're gonna feed that horses.
Start feeding horses.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just roll me basic animal handling check.
Cool.
14.
16.
Both fine. I think we'll do one for every 3 horses. So we need
Three
two
saves.
more checks.
Nim, nim, nim.
One
nim,
more
nim.
for me and one more for you. Come on. 16.
14.
Yep. So if you feed them all without any real issue,
And then feed the barefoot.
yeah, Barefoot sort of takes his cue and sort of chows down on some meat.
Oh, yeah, so don't worry, it should still be fairly tasty.
I ain't getting on no plate.
Oh yeah, that's another point. If everyone could roll me perception checks as well.
Ooh. 17.
16. Very consistent.
12.
18.
10.
Okay, so most of you have actually noticed as it's been getting rougher, because obviously it's not 2 hours suddenly rougher, another hour super rough.
Yeah.
It's a gradual progression, and it is starting to get a little bit choppier, and it's progressively getting worse. And you have mostly noticed that. You hadn't really noticed the gradual, and now suddenly you've thought about it, and it's like, oh wow, it's suddenly much choppier.
Have you ever been reading in a car and then suddenly you look up and you go, oh no, I feel sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. So if you could roll me a con save.
Yeah, it's just like you're in a car, you're reading, and it's like, oh fuck, it's nighttime.
T-Pain.
Hopefully not while you're driving.
Anything could happen.
Oh, my father passed away peacefully in his Jeep. Shame the 12-car pile-up didn't.
15.
Yeah, you're fine. So you're not feeling particularly queasy. It was just sort of almost a little bit of a shock to notice it's suddenly gotten rougher. But you're feeling okay.
Okay.
But yeah, so you finish getting all the horses fed. You finish getting all the barefoot fed. Everything's sort of to the point where the horses are quite happily settling themselves down, resting. You know, barefoot sort of in a corner, like.
Mel, you're up.
Okay. So,
Oh yeah, don't forget we've got the one extra just
One
in case.
spare, just in case.
so I've got a collection of what looks like really weird powder. I'm pulling stuff out of pouches and grinding it into personal mortals.
Hang on, this is to help calm me down.
So, the horses obviously are counting as 5 hit points each at the moment, not 10. And the barefoot also counts as 5 hit points right now.
Fuck the barefoot.
That's if you do cast on him as well.
I'm starting to.
You could kill them all with a poison cloud.
They would never know.
I mean, they've
Okay.
functionally got 10 hit points, but they've reduced it for the drowsiness stuff that's going on.
1.
And with lots of, alchemy, cooking,
One.
and magic coming together. It's a good way to keep them.
We're working as a team.
Yeah.
I'm using all my spells.
In
Yay!
the name
You're
of teamwork.
So,
Yay!
are you guys tying them down as well now that they're resting into positions?
Yeah.
And stuff?
Yeah. Which I can help with that.
Because otherwise they're going to end up sliding about and smashing into
But wait a
stuff.
minute, the way the shape the horses are,
Hey,
they
look at that.
stack quite well.
Hey, look at that! Someone actually utilising all of their spells.
I haven't got any useful spells.
No,
No,
we're
no,
talking
no.
about on in our D&D sessions.
It's hard,
There's
okay?
there are certain wizards of a certain high level who knows a certain many spells who never cast any of the fucking.
Okay, so basically I do it in groups because of the way they worked out. So I put 5 to sleep, and then 4, and then another 4. So yeah, 5, 4, and then 4. The way it works out hit points.
Okay, so you get all 13.
Yeah, so,
Oh, yeah.
so I basically have to do it in a grouping. But for me, I have, because the spell states right that the components for it are a pinch of fine sand, rose petals, and a cricket. So I spent some time grinding up some crickets and all the other things, and I'm going to do like the proper thing,
Yeah, have some razzmatazz.
yeah. And then I'm like going across, and then like, but what I'm doing is as I'm going up to them, I've got like people behind them as I'm going to go into it. So yeah.
They're
So
on the floor.
as you do that, you blow the dust out, and the dust starts to glow a little bit as it starts to settle on them. And as the dust settles onto each one, they start to doze off into slumber.
Okay.
So I need survival checks for each of the horses individually, because despite the fact that you are securing them, you have to secure them in such a way that it's not too tight that it will cause injury, but it's tight enough that they won't shift too much.
I'm not doing that.
So each horse will need a separate survival check for the roll.
Okay, so who?
I can't help you. I'm no good with tying knots.
No,
I'm
so,
casting the magic.
yeah, so I'm good at survival, and I'm going to assume that you're fairly good at survival.
I'm right. I'm better at animal handling.
I'm alright.
But it's survival.
Yeah, survival. Yeah, I've got basic survival.
Yeah, because
So-
the animal handling at the moment is now irrelevant because they're asleep.
Yeah, no, I'm unskilled in survival, but I have +1 in wisdom. So.
+3.
Yeah, because Zach's with us now, 'cause he's finished what he's doing. So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it
'cause
depends on
you've all
what
been
what
down.
manner we want to split it up in.
Okay.
So you've got
Let's give it a go.
12 checks to do between
Yeah.
the three of you. So you can
So that's 4 each.
yeah, 4 each.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
And that's 8.
Wang it up.
Number Wang.
Oh, we've got a
Wait,
wang
you
and another
got a
wang.
20.
Yes. Number 1.
Vampire.
Bastard! I love you!
But I knew my dad.
Okay, so what was you also again? Sorry.
No, you knew some guy that said he was your dad.
You rolled a 1, didn't you?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, your dad's
so
black, right?
even with my survival score, that's a 4.
Next rolls.
Very quickly.
Right, so that was a 25
That
for
was
me.
an 8 for me.
No,
Merlin.
so next roll.
Yeah.
Terrible advice. We kill the horses.
11.
Fireball everything.
The fireball. No, we don't want to fireball everything.
Yes, burn the boat. Then we can't sink.
But otherwise, thank you for the input, Dwarf Warrior.
Can't sink if you ain't got a boat.
So non-natural 20 for the second roll.
Another 11.
So you roll a non-natural 20, I roll a 2.
And whoa! Number Wang again.
Is that your third roll for the next 11?
Yes.
Okay.
And then
I
my
was
your
my
fourth
third
roll.
second.
Number one.
What's your third
So
roll?
third roll. One's up.
Ah!
Yay!
Number Wang!
And a
Okay.
7 for me.
Right.
So that was your fourth roll, was it?
Yes, poultry
last one.
7.
Fourth roll.
Ah! What
yeah.
is going on? What's another number Wang?
Okay, so I'm rolling in 1 then.
No.
No,
There's
mediocre! 13.
Oh, Merlan,
You
Merlan.
bastard.
That's all your luck
That's
for a while.
4 20s I've rolled this
Roll me a
session.
perception.
Blaze it.
I got that joke.
12.
Okay, so you notice that one of the horses is not well tied down.
Yeah, it's like, it's like, ooh. Not liking the way that horse is tied down. I'm just gonna go double check it.
Go fix it.
Okay, roll survival.
That is 23.
Yeah, alright. So yeah, so you retie that one, and you realise that one was really badly done. But you retie it, and then it's like, okay, now.
Yes, like, that's better. Nice and secure. We don't want any
Grab
horses.
your rubber a second.
And my rubber.
Okay. Since done turn down the horses, I gonna walk up to Carson because I still have 1 spell slot and put a condescending mage armor on him.
Hey.
Just because I know it's a storm, but I don't trust him. He's gonna do something stupid.
And that gives what did that give again?
It's 13 plus 1 moment for me. It is 13 plus your dex modifier. But remember, you also adds your braces on as well.
Okay.
So 13 plus dex modifier plus 2.
Given that we started late, but it's up to people.
Let's have a look.
Again, it's not really up to me.
Yeah, so be 13 plus dex modifier plus 2 because you've got your braces of defense on.
Which would be the same armor class I've got now. Oh wait, no, wisdom. Duh.
Yeah, plus your wisdom.
Yeah, duh. So that's fine. I got it. Yay! Thank you very much.
It's the same I've got now. What do you mean it's the same as you've got now?
No, I keep forgetting because of being a monk. I get the wisdom on top of that. So we're back from our break, and we are going to continue with.
Horse BDSM.
Yes.
She's not wrong.
You will.
They are climbing down horses and
Still pliable and
And
everything.
drugged them. And
oh Jesus Christ! Oh, this is going places.
and barefoot. Don't forget barefoot. We
Are
haven't
we,
tied
are we
him
gonna,
down
are we
there.
going to tie you up in some sort of...
You're tying horses down barefoot. You sick fuck.
Yeah, speaking of, are we going to tie down barefoot?
He's currently just sat
Put him in a
against the
hammock.
wall
Put
now.
him in a hammock will be fine.
What time in the hammock? So if you're
Just-
rolls
just-
over, he just
Just
gets up
wrap him
wrapped
up
in
in the
it.
hammock and tie it against the wall. There
I
you
mean,
go.
we have just basically B.A. Baracus thing.
Yes.
So put him in the hammock, spin it round so it's tied up, and then pin it to the wall, and then it'll be fine.
So we're going to turn him into a fucking spider cocoon then.
Spiderling.
The only downside is that if we need to escape the ship in a hurry, then
That was so are the horses. So a
yeah.
Okay.
caravan
So-
driver always goes down with his horses.
So over the next hour, the sea starts to get progressively rougher quite quickly. Everybody needs to roll me a con save.
Oh,
Ooh.
come on! This is when I gotta start
Heck,
rolling
I don't
shit.
get out of this one. I have to as well.
Okay, no, that was fairly good. 13.
13.
18.
18.
11.
Okay. You're starting to feel kind of ill. It is like you can hear the rain outside, and the way the ship's moving.
No.
The last time you were on a ship, it wasn't
It
this.
was
It's on a rock.
nowhere near this bad.
Nowhere near like this.
No.
Most of you are doing okay. I mean, you can feel the rocking. It's not comfortable, but you're keeping okay. You are generally not on balance. Most of you are probably sat down to prevent the inevitable falls that could be happening. A couple of the caravan drivers are sort of trying to move around to just check on the horses and such, but they keep falling down.
Oh yeah,
so
the wagon's secure.
they
secured anyway. Yeah.
the caravan drivers are doing that while you guys are looking after the horses themselves.
Hooray!
So the caravan drivers are going and trying to check the horses, but not keeping their balance very well. So they end up getting themselves to one of the sides and just steadying themselves near the edge of the boat. Again, it's doesn't seem like it's evening out with how rough it's getting. It still seems to be getting worse. Another hour goes past, and there's points where you can feel that the ship has easily 45 degrees back to front end. And then it's just dived straight across down what you assume is another wave. After this extra hour, if everyone could roll me another con save, you were at disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Oh,
6.
Oh,
I feel like Cassus in real life.
Uh-oh.
If you were Cassus in real life, you wouldn't still be standing.
Let's see if I set the tone.
I'm probably not.
9.
6.
Oh.
11.
15.
Oh, you
7.
got mad con.
I rolled a 19 and a 4.
Okay. You are still feeling okay.
Yay.
You're not particularly feeling queasy. You think you're okay. You three are all feeling kind of queasy. It's a little bit sort of. Oh,
Where's the bucket?
Fun.
Where's the bucket?
More
Whatever
buckets!
you've eaten today is gone.
Yeah.
It is fucking gone.
As I'm lying on the floor with my arms around a bucket, like no.
Yeah. She has chucked up the contents of her breakfast and anything she's eaten since.
Which probably doesn't help you guys. Which is probably why you're getting queasy, because I've just thrown up.
I'm vomiting things.
Probably doesn't
I'm
help.
vomiting things I don't remember eating.
Can I prestidigitate away her sick?
Yes. That's actually simple enough. There's no real issue with that.
Clean.
Because you're not feeling particularly ill and it's a simple spell, you've got no real issues casting that.
Mr. Cowers, I don't feel so good.
No! No!
So,
So you three are throwing up.
I was car sick in your office.
No, I'm literally finding a place that I can hold on to and then try to focus on not throwing up, basically.
so the ship has been very roughly going up and down. And there's a little bit of side to side, but not as much, which shows the ship's probably still in control. You hear a loud crash, and the ship turns violently.
Oh.
Oh.
Is that the rudder or one of the masts?
We should go check. I start running upstairs.
No.
No, don't go upstairs.
Okay. Roll me a dex check. In fact, dex save, I should say.
Anything could have happened. Some mask could have broken, rudder could have gone,
Don't
could have hit a
fall
rock.
I'm going to start crawling after her because bitch is going to get herself killed.
Yeah,
But I'm on the floor crawling,
Okay.
like, no.
So you can get up and start moving.
Yeah.
However, there will be several things that you'll probably have disadvantage for.
Yep.
Is anyone else going?
Maybe
Yeah.
should we all go?
Stay
Yeah,
with the
I'm going
horses.
to stay with my dag.
She was in the room.
Okay, stay with the horses then. Because they're important. No,
Yeah,
we
I'm
need your
going,
magic.
Stay with the horses.
We need your magic.
I've already run.
Oh.
She's already gone. So you start heading off after. Roll me a dex save at disadvantage, please.
Well, if you're going, then
Zero.
us two will stay down here and try and keep an eye on things.
Yeah.
Got it.
Aww.
Oh, oof.
13.
Okay, so you don't fall over and you're still a bit. But you managed to follow out without much issues. No one else going then? Is everyone else staying?
I know. Me and Hoff are
You're
going to stay down here with the
Roll
horses.
me a dex save.
Ah, fuck. 7.
You're staying with the horses because you just fell on your face.
Don't worry, you got it. Yeah, got it.
Help, I didn't
Actually,
roll.
no, that wasn't a 1, so.
Okay, you take 3 points of bludgeoning damage as you fall back down the stairs.
Ow, ow,
I'm going to try again.
Yeah, that's fine, so try him.
Look at that, you're turning the ship into a weapon.
That's
That's
better.
better. 22.
Okay, so you do manage to head out after. Okay, 1 second. So after they've all managed to get up, you're still down there. They've gone off. Roll me a perception check. You can roll it as well because you.
Yay!
7.
20.
Sorry.
21.
Okay. You see absolutely shit all.
I see the sway of the ship. Funnily enough.
Even though it's been prestidigitated away, the moments you smelt the sick, you're still a little bit like.
Yeah, it's like,
I don't
no,
know. No.
no.
That's one of the reasons you're feeling a bit queasy now. As the ship's moving, and as it seems to be righting itself a little bit from it being thrown off course, but as it rocks up and down again, some of the ropes on one of the horses comes untied and the horse shifts a bit.
Oh, yeah. Right, I'm going to get in there. Calm it down. Animal handling.
It's still asleep.
Oh, good. Right, let's tie that rope up.
Survival, please.
Oh, no.
Oh.
It's not a Wanganum.
But it was close.
It's close to Wanganum. That comes to a total of 3.
You can't seem to get the ropes tied around the horse, no matter how hard you
Too
try.
short.
You're currently not managing it.
Oh, I need some help.
Based on the rocking of the ship, you're struggling with that based on height and other variables.
Yeah, it's like.
He has asked for help. So
Yeah, it's like, what? What's wrong?
I can't tie the rope. I'm not doing that. I need help. It's
Okay.
difficult with all the moving and the
Roll me a
darkness.
dex save.
Hello, darkness.
Take a step.
Well, at least I'm proficient in that. 10.
Okay, you manage to get across. You almost sort of fall over a couple of points, but you manage to use, some of the partitions by the horses to keep yourself up. And you get
Coming.
over.
Right, survival it is. Survival. Yay! 22.
Okay, so you managed to get this horse tied back in where it's shifted to. Hasn't shifted too far, but you do manage to get it sort of tied in so that it's not going to shift anymore. And it's you think it should be safe now.
Yes, I think that's about right.
Good.
Okay. So, Hikaru, you started heading up. You got up the stairs, and you're heading up across some of the lower decks to the stairs to the next deck. You get up a couple of decks, and roll a perception check.
All bright-eyed and bushy-tailed as you are.
-1.
Yes, you roll a Wanganum.
No. Well, yeah. I rolled a 1, but my perception. Oh no, technically, yeah, it's -1, so it's 0.
Yeah, no, because a Wanganum is a Wanganum. Isn't it?
Yeah, but I got -1 anyway, so yeah, I don't see anything.
Okay. Roll me a deck save at disadvantage with a -5. Because you did roll a 1, and you have not seen this coming.
1 second.
Flying monkeys.
Okay, with a -5.
5.
9.
Okay. You take 4 points of bludgeoning damage as a full rum barrel comes untied from a rope that was not well tied and hits you in the side. Now, a half full rum barrel wouldn't have been so bad. This one was full.
Oh, just so we know
Just
which
rub
barrel
it
it
in.
was.
Okay. Has it knocked me over?
I would say no,
Just slammed into me.
but
Okay.
it has slammed into you.
No, that's fine. Okay.
Oh, but I want to be legless on a barrel of rum.
But yeah, you're still stood up at the moment.
It's, oh my god, what did this to you?
Okay.
Rum. Oh, you
So
shouldn't
yeah,
be drinking
so
at a
you-
time
so
like
you
this.
carry on?
Yep.
Okay, so you carry on. So you manage to get up the stairs, still a bit. You get up a couple of floors. You see a rum barrel that's sort of rolling across the deck.
I'm gonna strength and push it back to somewhere and try and tie it up.
Okay, so you see that there's a rope hanging from a hook, which looks like it could be somewhere it's tied.
Woo.
Roll me the strength check at disadvantage.
He's like, "Whoop," off the ship. Oops.
Well, no, she's still below deck. But it's just the deck. of that
19.
floor. Okay, so that's fine. So you managed to push that up to the edge without too much issues to it. And if you could roll me a survival check, please.
Disadvantage or
Yes. Yeah. Especially since that's quite a tricky thing to do.
12.
Okay, you reckon you successfully got it tied up. It doesn't seem to be shifting.
I'm gonna
Um,
give it a shake. Nope, we're good.
At that point, based on the fact that you fell down, you get up and see her just tying a rum barrel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so you get up to the deck she's on as you see her just finishing off tying up a rum barrel. Nothing happened.
Nothing to
Nothing
see here.
here.
And I take it the two of you then carry on
Yeah.
towards top deck. Okay. Back up with you two.
Another horse.
We have to dodge an incoming horse now.
So you can both roll me perception.
Horse
Oh,
box
that's a
swing
good.
blasted in the face.
Perception.
So I'm wait.
7.
Oh, I can beat you there. 6.
I don't think beat is the word you were looking for.
You didn't see
Hey,
anything.
if this was golf, I'd be winning.
No, it wouldn't. No, you wouldn't because you'd be playing. Oh wait, no, they're all rich.
So you're currently struggling a little bit with with keeping yourselves from being thrown around a little bit. If you can roll me dex saves.
Whoop.
Yeah. Oh, dex save! I get bonus on that! Hooray! 12.
11 by 1 again.
Again, so you're keeping yourselves sort of as steady as you can, not being thrown around too much, and you're largely not too bad.
Yeah, I was going to say trying to keep out as best I can, but because trying to keep footing is kind of distracting.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Karia,
Yes.
roll me another dex save.
No dice. It's currently cocked on the table.
Okay, just a normal one.
Yeah.
How?
23.
Okay, so that's fine. So as the ship's moving again, you are keeping yourself relatively steady, and you get up onto top deck.
Okay, I'm not like going up. I just want to like peer up because I remember them saying that you're meant to have like just the captain on the deck on his own. I just want to check he's okay.
Okay. Roll me a perception check at disadvantage
Because
it's
stormy conditions.
yeah. So the rain. So what you can see even before the perception check, it's very heavy rain. I mean, it is absolutely bucketing it down. You can see that it's dark. As far as you're aware, it's probably about midday and it's dark. I mean, it's like it's nighttime out here, and there is lightning. That's fine. It's just it's like nighttime despite the fact that it's midday. But you can see fine. But yeah,
No,
but
she
there's
can't.
lightning crashed here and there.
She
What's your
can't see
perception?
shit.
2. Well, I have the choice.
I see
That's
perfectly
why when you
fine.
said, you see fine, I was like, no, she can't.
You're struggling to see where the captain is though. You can't pick him out at the moment.
Nor can I find what the loud noise was.
No.
I'm gonna have to step out then. Okay, I steps out.
Okay. You guys are following along. If you could roll me your dex saves.
Still disadvantage.
For you, yes.
Oh, that's another one wasted.
Number 1 can't be used. Where? I don't blame
That's my
Merlan.
second in a row.
14.
7.
Okay. So
I'm walking
you're
up
fine.
ahead of you.
Roll me a perception.
No shit.
Oh,
Hey!
oh, now I get one.
Okay. You have a chance to roll athletics to try and steady her.
Okay.
This is standard athletics. No advantage or disadvantage.
Use that training deep down from within.
Oh, fine.
Whap,
You just had to jinx
Yeah,
it,
you just
didn't
had
you?
to.
Fucking
You
Why
couldn't
did you words?
You couldn't keep your mouth shut, could you?
No.
Your mouth opens and the luck just goes.
The gaping maw of the luck vampire.
Luck vortex.
Okay. Unfortunately, you don't manage to prevent her going down. You go prone. There's
You suck
no
in
damage from
suck
this
in
because you're
luck
not
and
going
fart
upstairs at the moment,
disappointment.
so you get knocked over by.
I do fart
So-
disappointment.
So you, again, you'll be able to get yourself back up in a minute. But
How do we fit Merlan into the dice jail?
In
It's
pieces.
not big enough.
In
We can
pieces.
stuff his balls.
Blender.
Fleshy!
We can stuff his balls in there.
If I cut you up,
No, they're already in a different kind of jail.
We can
Uh,
put his. You can put his wee wee in there.
he could put his wang
In the
In
wang.
there.
Wang wang.
I could turn you into a salad dish.
So yeah.
Stuff you in
So
there.
you're not quick enough to
Pick
steady
up real
her
small.
as she falls over, and like she seems to be struggling a little bit to keep her balance. And do you have her back up?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So he helps you back up.
Yep.
So you guys will be hanging on a minute. Okay. So you guys can roll me another perception check.
That's better.
Yep.
16.
17.
Okay.
Hey, you went in there.
Just one
So
behind you.
At this point, now you've noticed a snapped rope, and one of the horses is shifted almost all the way across to the other side, of the ship.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, it's just like, was that horse really that close?
It's bumped into one of the other horses. Neither of them's woken up, but
Yeah.
it's bumped into one of the other horses.
You push the horse, I'll get the rope.
Okay, good idea.
Okay, both of you roll me dex saves.
Oh, that's good. Non-natural 20.
10.
Okay, you're just okay, and you're fine.
It's like,
You get over to the horse. If you could roll me a strength check.
oh, that's pretty good. So, is that based on the strength save or just flat strength?
Nope, that is a strength check.
Okay. So, either way, that is 19.
Okay, so you managed to push the horse back into position. You haven't had to do this before, and the horse is fairly hefty. I mean, these things are way
Oh
too
yeah,
it's
horse
like,
is big.
Hefty.
partly with your relatively well-conditioned strength, and partly by using the motion of the ship, you move it and control the movement to get the horse back to its position. At which point you can roll me a survival check.
So, yeah.
Non-natural 20.
Okay. So as he moves the horse back into position, you sort of scurry over the top of the horse, kind of kind of going with the idea that they're probably asleep enough that they probably won't be too worried about a gnome climbing over the back.
How would I climb over the back? That's going to be hard for me. That's going to be difficult for me.
I'd
I'd probably throw the rope over and then run underneath.
You can't
The
get
horse
underneath.
is lying down.
Oh, the line down.
Because they're asleep. They're lying down.
I thought they could sleep standing up. No, they can't. That's
That's
That
cows.
probably wouldn't be a good idea in a storm anyway.
That's
Yeah.
cows. Okay,
So you
scramble
start over the
top.
top with the rope, and then you get it tied down with no issues.
Yeah.
And again, horse seems to be okay. Doesn't seem to be any damage to the horse, but seems to be tied. And you reckon you've tied it down fine for now. So, Vicaria, so you go up out onto the deck. If you could please roll me a dex save with disadvantage.
I've been doing so well with my deck saving throws.
Oh!
Fuck. She's going overboard.
6.
Oh, you're going to die.
I didn't even open my mouth that time.
It's your fault.
As you actually walk out up onto deck, you start getting lashed with rain. You stagger a little bit to the left, and you're currently on the port side of the ship. But then you stagger to the right a bit and start going further with the roll of the ship.
And then you crisscross.
And you fall over on deck. You don't take any damage, but because it's slippery and because it's seriously moving, you do go prone.
Okay.
So, at the moment, if you roll me a perception, again at disadvantage.
15.
Nice. Okay, so you sort of look up and you see the captain there wrestling with the helm of the ship. The odd you see the odd sort of moment where he lets go a little bit to let the ship turn a bit with the waves, and then he holds it again and then starts to shift it again. And he seems to be, it seems a pitched battle that he's currently having with the ship. But you also see what looks like unnatural water movement towards the side of the ship, off the starboard bow. So where you'd expect the waves to be like up, down, crashing against the side of the ship and such, there's a point where you see what looks like something almost moving independently. Like the water's almost moving independently of the rest of the water.
Oh, I understand. Okay.
Suspicious.
Hmm.
Okay.
Let's clean out
Prone conditions. Uno memento.
Prone. The prone creature's only movement option is to crawl unless it stands up and thereby ends the condition. The creature has disadvantage on attack rolls. An attack roll against the creature has advantage if the attack is within 5 feet, otherwise it's at disadvantage. So there are advantages and disadvantages to being prone.
Okay. I'm gonna stay prone because I can still cast prone and cast detect magic so that I can look while I'm on board on deck.
Okay.
Wait. Yes, I still have the slot to do so.
Okay. If you could roll me an intelligence save, essentially to maintain the spell because of the conditions you're casting in.
Is it conditions per round or once done?
Nope, this is
save?
just to cast it essentially because you're trying to cast while the storm is pretty.
Advantage or not or straight?
It's just straight roll.
Okay, 7. Even though it's mine.
So currently, you won't lose the spell slot, but you're currently struggling to get the cast of the spell.
Okay.
Just because the conditions you're in, it's quite a struggle.
So
Okay.
you haven't cast it, but you haven't lost it.
No, it's fine.
The power is
Yeah, because just trying to get the movement, trying to summon up power is quite difficult, and you're really not used to the conditions, so it's quite new to you.
Is from the perception check, is the mast still intact?
The mast seems to be okay. You don't see anything that looks obviously wrong with it, and you can't see any immediately obvious damage to the ship from what you can see where you are at the moment.
Okay.
Doesn't look like it.
That was my big fear, is that the mast had snapped.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
Because I could fix that over time, but...
Okay. So about this point, you guys get to the exit to the to deck.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys staying in there, or are you going out on deck?
You can peep out.
No.
just play peekaboo.
Peekaboo. Right. I'm gonna tie my rope around my waist.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want me to roll to do the knot?
Yes, please. Survival check at disadvantage.
No, at disadvantage.
Yeah, because you're still queasy.
That's 16.
Okay, so you successfully tie that around your waist.
Hold this. If I start going overboard, pull.
Okay.
Safety harness.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm gonna go out because I'm at disadvantage anyway. So what's it gonna fucking do to me?
Pretty much. It's a good job you can't have double disadvantage, really.
Yep.
So
It's,
you head out onto deck.
Mhm.
Roll me a deck save. Obviously disadvantage.
6.
Okay, so you eat deck as well.
Yep.
So
You dick.
deck.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not with the captain yet.
You
Shut up.
salute.
So that's
Mine's
eating,
in the gut.
so that's eating wood, right?
Yes, that's exactly what it means.
Cassus got my psychic message.
So, based on the fact that it's fairly fucking wet out here, it's really, really off balancing being on the ship moving the way it is. The wind and the fact you're still a little bit.
Yep.
You go down.
I'm gonna
Feel
start
free.
army crawling over to her.
Yeah, so feel free to additionally roll me perception. This you will not have disadvantage for, because despite the fact that you're queasy, you can still see. Oh, sorry, you will have disadvantage. Apologies because of storm conditions. Because then I'm being unfair if I do that anyway, so sorry. Being stupid now. Stupid
14.
Do you have dark vision? Do you have no light vision? I'm just genuinely
I
interested.
think it's just dark vision and 5e. You don't have low
Oh,
light.
no, no, no. Oh, yeah, you're right.
'Cause
Dark
they've
vision
condensed it.
60 foot.
Yeah, I thought you did.
So what was your...
14.
Okay, so you can see where Macario is with no issue. You can see the captain up on the...
Look at
On
them
the thing.
muscles.
and again, he is there. He doesn't seem to have noticed you yet because he's still having pitched battle with the ship.
As I'm combat crawling over to her.
Yep. So you have enough distance to get over to her.
It's 50 foot hemp rope. So
Yeah, the rope's fine.
Yeah. White.
I'm staring like this way.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, what?
What?
So yeah, so for reference for people,
I'm not
Storms
actually
aren't loud.
shouting.
Yes.
and obviously with the waves crashing and the wind howling,
The whole groaning.
I'm not going to be making them shout because we're in a
Yeah.
small room and it's
A
getting late
residential
at night.
area late at night.
However, they are currently trying to shout at each other.
Hey, the rope over here!
What are you staring at?
Something wrong with that wave.
It's a wave!
It's unnatural.
Oh, wow, that's an interesting check at disadvantage.
Oh.
What?
A 1 or a 1?
Yeah.
Huh.
Captain hears
hasn't seen a
nothing.
fucking thing. He's still wrestling with the ship.
Completely fucking oblivious.
He's oblivious to the two women crawling around on the deck of the ship.
Yeah, it's like, no, only I'm allowed to be on top deck, nobody else here. What?
Credit where to his attentions are fairly focused.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that.
You need some crew on deck in a storm like this in case you there's you get loose lines or.
I did actually Google it earlier. Apparently, the only person for any reason who should be on deck is the helmsperson. You do
Okay.
all the preparation beforehand unless something goes wrong. So all the films where you see them
But
all
something-
actually doing stuff
but
on deck. not
we
just-
heard something break.
Yeah, that's why I went up.
So, she's told me there's a weirdness to the waves.
Okay, you can roll me another perception disadvantage.
7? It's fucking waves!
Mate, it's fucking windy as shit out here. There's so much fucking water. It's like it's all fucking unnatural. Based on the things that people mentioned about this place, the storm itself probably isn't natural. Ah!
Yeah,
Sort of the thing going on in your head at the moment.
pretty much. It's waves!
No.
But wait, it's not real.
I am literally on
You're
the
safe
floor.
to disbelieve.
Like, I was crawling and I literally just rolled over on my back like, what the fuck is
This bitch
going on?
crazy.
Stupid people.
I'm wet, I'm ill, I don't want to be here.
Yep.
So are you currently staying just on the stairs, sort of steadying yourself with the railings and things? Okay, that's fine. So, you doing anything else?
I want to try and cast. I wasn't doing anything. I was waiting till my turn.
That's fine.
It's
a little bit freeform at the moment. So again, if you try an intelligence save again,
Something weird.
still fine.
Yeah, she's trying to talk to you. Just shut up and try and concentrate.
18.
Better.
Okay,
Not better.
you can cast the spell.
Okay, detect magic. Stares at the waves.
Okay, so
Detect
remind
magic.
me what it says about detect magic.
Uno momento.
Oh my god, you may get to say the line to her. You fall unconscious because it's fucking magic everywhere. It's got to be an unnatural
For the
storm.
duration, you sense the sense the presence of magic within 30 foot of you. If you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see a faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears magic, and you can learn its school of magic if any. The spell can penetrate most barriers, but is blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, 1 thin sheet of mud, etc. Is it within 30 foot of me?
Okay.
I'm calling closer.
The wave itself is not within 30 foot, and whatever it is maintaining roughly 100 foot distance from the ship at the moment. However, you can see a faint outline around it, which suggests magic. Additionally, the entirety of this storm, so all the clouds, as far as you can see, are magical.
Yeah.
Like it's almost blinding to be looking up at an entirely magical
So
sky.
basically,
It's
I'm
not an island full
gonna
of storm giants or
I'm
something.
gonna do
They're
some
just
like a hand
throwing these
gesture,
storms.
I stare, and then suddenly go.
Yeah, that kind of hurts your eyes looking directly up at the sky like that, just because of the fact that it's all magical as opposed to just a thing that's magical.
What? All I'm thinking is, what?
Lamb.
She's sort of looking like this, and then she looks up and sort of goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's dark. It's so bright.
That's not including obviously the fact that there's rain hitting her in the face. That's just like she's actually looking at something that looks like it's hurting her eyes.
So there's something out on the starboards.
Provided you're pretty much not constantly looking up, you're fine generally. But if you look up, it's just mildly painful to look.
Yeah, just don't do
Would
it.
I, from the description, the thing that's out 100 foot, is it giant shaped?
Storm giant.
So it has sort of an outline, but it's almost a formless outline.
It's blocked.
It's hard to explain, but it doesn't seem to have a form, despite the fact that there's an outline of what probably is where it is.
Yeah, don't keep staring up at the bright light on like a certain country's president.
Yeah.
Okay,
You could roll me an Arcana check.
Arcana.
Arcana.
12?
Based on what you're seeing, you feel like this could be a creature that doesn't have to hold a particular form. Something that maybe is almost amorphous. You don't think it's anything like a giant. Maybe something in the vein of an ooze or elemental, maybe?
Wind elemental, water elemental.
Probably water if it's in the waves.
It could be an air elemental.
Yeah, it's stirring up the waves. Yeah.
Okay.
Evil A bastard.
And you're there like, I'm just looking at you like,
The fuck you doing?
She's staring fairly intently at a particular point. You can attempt another disadvantage perception.
fuck's sakes! Third in a row wasted.
Fireball everything.
What, a third 20 in a row?
Yeah, fireball storm.
No, because
No,
it's rolling 20s, which
It's
is great.
rolling
It's just she's at
20s
disadvantage.
constantly, but because I'm at disadvantage, I can't fucking use them.
This is all
That's how it
Merlan's
works.
fault.
So the perception of 3.
Yes, this is all your
Yeah, you
fault.
still
Because I rolled
see
the
what she's
Jonah!
Wanganum.
He's a Jonah!
Jonah?
Jonah?
Yes, right, you know the story of Jonah and the whale?
Either way.
No.
Yeah.
Basically, a Jonah is basically someone, a jinx. And
sounds like
normally
me.
the only way to appease them is to give them to the sea.
Well, you heard the man. Into the drink, man.
But no, I don't want to go into the drink.
Into the drink.
No, I don't want it.
Hopefully the whales
What
hear
are you staring at?
There's something out there.
Yeah! Water!
No, a creature.
Fish!
Bitch, you have. Okay, so with the disadvantage, you just about still sees you guys.
See, this is the problem when the majority of us aren't magically inclined.
So-
We're just like, what?
You guys, if you could both roll me perception standard.
Oh, standard?
Yeah, this is your standard.
9. Yeah,
11.
10.
Okay, you just about hear. What are you doing on deck? You don't. Apologies. Sorry, that's specifically Cassandra does. You don't quite. You hear something kind of muffled, but you don't hear specifically any.
The sirens are calling.
Yeah, you can just about make out the words and you hear the captain shout.
Fuck it. Right, I'm gonna untie the knot from around me,
Uh-oh.
tie it around her.
Okay.
Disadvantage?
So untying it isn't a problem, but tying it to her is disadvantage.
What are you doing?
Saving your fucking life!
I wasn't in danger.
That's when you just go.
That's an 18.
Okay, yeah. So you tie her.
Tie it around your waist and start crawling over to the captain.
Okay, you have to crawl up a set of stairs.
I know, but I'm crawling to the stairs so then it's easier for me and him to have a conversation. So he'll be able to hear me easier.
Okay. So yeah, so you crawl over to where the stairs are because
And I
there's
link
steps and you
my
have to go up
arm
the thing.
with the banister to hold myself in place.
Okay.
As I shout, apparently there's a creature in the water.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. You can probably hear me, but not him.
There was a freak wave, but nothing else.
Apparently it's a creature.
Is he disagreeing with you?
You two can kind of hear each
Yeah.
other.
He says it's a freak
Okay,
wave.
Okay.
He says it's a freak wave. That's when all of a sudden another one hits.
Mm-mm.
That's what I reckon. Another one's just going.
Okay, you can roll another perception to see if you can start hearing any of the conversation.
15.
You can hear the conversation now, so you can hear the shouted conversation.
She highly disagrees.
Yeah, so you hear the tail end of it. There was nothing more than a freak wave, and then she highly disagrees.
Can I crawl forward?
Yeah. Crawling isn't too big an issue.
I'm gonna rope around me.
Yeah. The rope is tying you to him on the stairs so
Okay.
that if you start going overboard, he can pull you back.
Only
Okay.
he has no idea, so it should.
No, he has no idea it's changed.
I get to the stairs and go 100 foot off the starboard bow. There's an elemental out there.
So I do actually preemptively roll his disadvantage check, but that's fine because he has a fairly good perception because he's proficient with it. So he looks over and he does start to see this unnatural water. How the bloody hell did you spot that in this?
Magic!
Magic, she says.
So, he's there, kind of trying to keep control of the ship, and he's sort of looking around, almost like he's trying to find something. I don't know how to deal with whatever that is.
I'm literally looking at you like,
You know, a good mage would sort that out, but I don't
Is
have
there
any
anything I
offensive
can roll to
magic.
find out more information about what that is?
Let's see.
well, you said to me it was an elemental. You
I
said
said it enough that you heard.
You said
yeah.
elemental, so I can roll
I got no spell,
Arcana
no,
to see
no
if
magic
I
that
can
I possess.
know
can help.
anything about them.
What's magic?
Um,
Cast bullets.
you can roll an Arcana, and I reckon you can roll a history based on the way you've learnt a lot of stuff.
You can throw insults at it.
Insult
Non-natural
bullfighting.
20.
18. No history.
Okay. You haven't read much, but what it sounds like is being kind of in a storm like this. You reckon it's most likely to be an elemental. You don't reckon it's likely to be an ooze.
No, I don't think so.
You think maybe a water, an air, possibly maybe a storm elemental, but you can't really be too sure. You come to the conclusion you reckon it's probably either a water or an air elemental.
Water or air, yep. Anything about them?
They not really. I mean, you don't really focus on this area of study, so you're not entirely sure. But based on sort of the limited knowledge that you do have, you reckon if you could tell for sure what it was, you might be able to try and gather a bit more. But otherwise, at the moment, that's kind of all we can really get.
Okay. It's either a water or an air elemental.
I'd already come to that conclusion.
Without knowing which.
Okay, I'm going to tell the captain I'm actually we have to fight through the storm the best we can, but this thing's going to be kicking out things that we don't expect, like high waves and even higher winds. In fact, this whole storm is unnatural and will act unpredictably.
So he shouts back down. The ship is currently in a state that he can handle it, but he can't leave the helm. He needs to control the ship. Well, basically, I need to control the ship. Whatever that thing is, you guys will have to deal with it. My crew aren't equipped to deal with that type of thing.
Okay, turn to you. I've still got eyes on it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to get the others here?
Hang on.
Because I've got the rope. I'm safe.
I need to look up a spell. Can I borrow a book, please?
If only we had rings of contact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or my other party's got a magic conch shell.
Wait,
Oh,
wait.
it was meant to be a sending stone, but we referred to it as the magic conch so much it's now just become a conch shell.
Magic conch.
Most likely.
You can see it now. So, we've got no other way of dealing with this. Carson, you're going in the drink. What?
We'll make a sacrifice to whatever god
Sacrifice?
there is. A virgin sacrifice! It'll work for sure.
I'm going to go
No.
for. This is quite a
Guys,
weird Cassus,
Let's
this
make
is
a
weird
virgin
thing.
let's make a virgin sacrifice.
How you said that the where the thing is about 120 foot away from me, right? About 100 foot.
It's 100 foot away from the ship. From the starboard side, which is the one that's off, you're probably about 30 foot away from the edge of the ship. So, so you're currently about 130 foot away from it. From
Okay,
where you are.
I'm going to start crawling to the edge.
Okay.
I have a plan.
Ooh.
I just have an idea. So,
Okay.
I'm going to get my hand crossbow.
No.
I'm still hooked up. Well, actually, I'll crawl over to the side where she said it was. I'm going to link myself up with the railing. gonna get out my hand crossbow.
Okay, so you still haven't been able to see it yet. So
No,
do you
I
want
know.
to roll?
No, hang on. I'm going to load it up and then cast light on the tip of the arrow.
Okay.
Point it out.
Okay, I cast dancing lights around it.
Okay. Let me just have a quick look. There. Dancing lights.
120 foot.
Fine. So are you doing it as one glowing, vaguely humanoid form of medium size, or are you doing it as the 4 lights?
4 lights.
Okie dokie. So, you start dancing these lights around where this thing is, which you're not really having an issue with because you can see its sort of magical outline. You can roll a perception at standard now, based on the fact it's lit up like a fucking Christmas tree.
That is 13.
Okay, yep, so now you can see where it is.
Okay.
It's not obvious, but thanks to the light that the 4 dancing lights are shedding out, you can now see it.
And I'm going to shoot it.
Okay. If you could roll me an attack at disadvantage.
11.
No, 11's definitely going to miss. I apologise.
Strong on mine.
So if you fire, and based on sort of the heavy winds, the way the ship's moving, you can't quite really get a good bead on it, and you just fire straight into the drink.
Okay,
Down the horses.
I have a rope
Helpless.
attached. I don't know what it's attached to. Did you tell me what it's attached to?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I attach it to this anchor.
Well, no. If I knew it was attached to Zach, I could pull on it and get Zach to come up to help. I didn't know. I don't know what it's attached to. Hang on. What is the rope attached to?
Zach's holding it in case he needs to pull you in.
Okay, I tug on the rope like sharp tugs. You know, like 4 sharp tugs.
Yeah. Well.
No, as far as he's aware, I told him to hold on to it in case going overboard to pull back in.
Roll me
I don't know where you are.
roll me a strength check.
Remember, 40 tugs if you're in trouble, 42 if you're fine.
137 to tell me you're alive.
15.
Okay, you start being pulled back across the deck.
Okay. I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna crawl with it.
Okay. So you suddenly feel it slacken, as though like you're pulling it with no force resistance. Yeah. Sorry, thank you.
But whereabouts are you?
Still up.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
in the
I
stairwell.
crawl.
Just
He's
as a
like,
point.
ah.
Yeah, just as a point. Normally that would suggest that's a problem because you had resistance and then all of a sudden it's gone.
Which means either the line's been
But
broken.
I'm still
your hands are
feeling
falling
your
off.
weight there.
No, you're not.
Oh.
Because she's crawling with it, you're not feeling any resistance.
See me
It's
crawling.
like pulling just on
I'm crawling on too, and I'm like. Wait, I don't know what the sign for danger is. Danger!
Smart, motherfucker!
Danger, Will Robinson.
We need everyone! Creature in sea! Attacking ship!
Hey, you
Well, it's still, I don't know
guys!
if anyone's gonna hear you.
You don't reckon they're going to hear you from all the way down in the bottom of the ship from where you are.
Yeah, it's for them, not the entire crew.
Okay. I'll head down to go.
Yeah, the rest of the crew are all drunk and got their heads down. probably.
Okay, so while you guys are you staying prone on the deck?
Yeah,
I'm gonna crawl back to.
I'm going to continue shooting at it. So.
Oh,
Okay.
I can't. I can't
Sorry.
tie anything.
So, if you could roll me
I've crawled with
3
it.
dex saves, 3 separate dex saves.
Not bad. Yeah.
14.
Yep.
Are you a ghost?
16.
Nah.
Booger booger.
No, we're just going with the sway of the ship. Woo.
And 16.
Okay, so you get back down into the bottom of the ship where they are with the horses. You notice they've moved from wherever they were initially, but you're probably not all that surprised based on the storm.
Yeah. Creature in the water, gear up.
Right, grab the crossbow.
Alright.
Put my
Okay, so in that amount
Put my
of time,
cloak- put
you'll
my
get
travelling
3
cloak
chances
on.
to attack.
Mm.
So if you
All
can
a
roll me,
different distance.
Actually, no,
Oh,
just gonna
yes.
get wet. Take it off.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, that'll
conditions
weigh you
are
down.
not prevailing.
So
You see that clip I sent about that?
12?
That 15th century light
Yeah.
crossbow. That was really cool.
Yeah.
no,
The trigger on the top.
Yeah. So unfortunately, it's
Yeah.
just
it's one of
not,
those things.
Yeah, it's not happening. I mean, the fact that you're firing in a storm in itself would make this super difficult, and then with the ship moving, it's just. So you guys quickly start getting together. So you start to head back up. So if you could each roll me a dex save.
Oh god.
13.
That is
13. Oh,
18.
shit.
Yep. So that's fine. So you guys all start getting up. You can roll me another one.
16.
22.
22.
What?
What is going on?
And then one more.
9.
Number
Oh,
one.
dex save.
12.
Sorry, 11.
23.
11 dex save.
Number
yes.
Wang.
Yeah, that's 5 this session.
So you two manage to keep yourselves up as you get as you get up to the stairwell for the entrance up onto deck. You are absolutely fine. You're having absolutely no issues.
And I probably move faster than these two because I went 40
Yep.
feet and 40 foot movement speed up. It's like, out the way!
You almost burst out on deck without any issues. It's like looking around to see what's going on.
Yeah, it's like, no!
No, while Cass was shooting her 3 shots, I have -1 survival. I'm going to try and tie the rope myself, like around the mast.
Go for it at disadvantage.
You hang yourself.
By my feet. How did I do this?
Yeah, this is perfect.
Where did you tie it around? Was
I
it
appear
around
to
the
have
waist?
hog-tied myself.
With
5.
great success.
Okay, you reckon you've tied it pretty well.
I thought so. Yeah.
You've got a front.
So if you three could roll me a perception flat because she still has a dancing lights on it.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Cox.
7 if it's flat.
20. Not natural.
Yeah, no, yeah, flat. Does that mean we can't add? I can't add anything.
Oh no, it's just you don't get
There's
no
advantage or
advantage or
disadvantage.
Oh, 10.
9.
Okay. You just about see something in the water thanks for being lit up. You don't.
I got dark vision.
What do you have, sorry?
Non natural 20.
Yeah, you can see this thing in the
Yeah,
water.
but these
that's
chumps don't.
just- yeah.
Team Dark Vision.
Team dark
yeah,
vision.
Oh, yeah, shit, I don't have dark vision.
Doesn't matter. It's lit up by dancing.
Oh, yeah, of
lights.
course, yeah.
It's lit up like a
It's like-
fucking Christmas
Yeah,
tree.
it's a beacon in the
like
water.
a
at the moment,
dragon's
more or less.
frost tree.
Okay, so because
Yeah.
I've just appeared on deck, and then I'm just out the
Yeah,
hole.
you just sort of go.
Yeah, so what the hell's that? And whoever can hear me.
Either air. No, we'll probably do it as
It's
either
elemental.
air or water elemental.
And based on the fact that you have the best perception roll to see it so far, thanks in part to your dancing lights, you feel like you can see an eye in the water, but at the same time it's not because it's water. But it's like there's an eye in the water.
I don't see none.
Yes, I swear that's an eye.
Does that give me any further advantage I can roll on information?
Not at this point.
I don't see none.
But I think we're going to leave it there
No!
Fucking damn it.
because it's 11 o'clock.
No. Yeah, because currently what's thinking in my head, I'm like, how the fuck am I meant to touch that?
Well, I was thinking, okay, let's if it's a thing, I can help to spark it.
It's like, right, okay, somebody make a catapult and fling me at it.
Talk to me.
Overboard.
I volunteer to pull.
Yeah, 'cause what happened? It's like, don't worry, I'll jump in the drink
You
and I'll
want
swim
someone
at
to
it.
build you a catapult? Alright, come here.
I can build one really
Ooh.
small. It'll take a while.
The last thing that I will do is have everyone roll me one more con save.
Bum, bum, bum.
You three are at disadvantage.
Oh.
You failed the other one. You're at disadvantage anyway. You're at a flat roll.
Oh, I'm gonna blame Merlan.
18.
Oh.
Oh, shall I?
Murder us all. Murder us all.
Except me, I might be fine.
Let me write down what happens, everyone.
Right.
Okay, so I
19.
am
Yeah.
fine.
Yep. So you're still not feeling queasy. You're surprisingly okay.
Excuse me.
It's the excitement of
17.
magic.
Yep. You're actually feeling okay now that the adrenaline's almost kicking in for like something
Adrenaline.
going on.
Yeah, I moved a horse. I'm
2.
great.
2.
Now that you're out in the storm, you're feeling kind of queasy and you lose your lunch.
Okay. Who else?
You're feeling kind of queasy and you'll lose your lunch or breakfast, I should say. Really.
And
You
what was the night
are
before?
feeling a bit better than you were.
Ew.
So the adrenaline's starting to kick in and fight's starting to take over flight.
Mhm.
And with my last breath, I curse the
Spit in turn. My last breath. Spit at thee.
Which in this wind will possibly come back round and hit me in the face, but you know. So we're gonna finish there, guys. So that'll leave us on a nice little cliffhanger of what's going to happen next session. Because some of us will, can potentially do something, others can't. I don't know. But yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed that. Be prepared to join us tomorrow. This is not unusual. This will be a slightly impromptu stream, where we're back doing a horror stream. Hey, it was your idea.
No!
You're crying and you suggested it.
You did. It's the same with Slender.
Hush now, you're breaking the character now, shut up!
I'm not breaking the character.
I don't know what you fuckers are whining about. I'll be alright.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same.
we'll be good.
Merla!
Hey look, Team Whimper even wearing their colours.
So,
Yeah.
so obviously join us tomorrow for some whimpering from at least a couple of us. And some super straight faces from others. But otherwise, Saturday, me and Cassus will be continuing doing God of War.
Yay!
Shut up, boy!
God of Whores.
Well, I don't know. The more we hear about it, Odin is a dick. So
Odin is the
Yeah, we
dick.
know that.
And then
Yeah.
he puts his dick in it.
yeah.
No, that's Zeus.
That's
Zeus.
But-
Any whore.
Any whores a goal?
So thank you very much, guys, for watching, and hope to see at least some of you next time. Bye for now. Bye. 6.